Ladies and gentlemen, our referee has called a stop to this contest, declaring the winner by knockout and new MMA show! Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting round of and new MMA show. I am your host, Michael Hansen, and I do all kinds of sonorous things with microphones. I think I'm using that word correctly because I am a ring announcer and cage announcer. And I'm joined, as I always am, by my two co-hosts, both of whom bring MMA punditry to new heights on a weekly basis. Introducing to you first, in New York, he is Mark Prio. What's up, my friend?
You're going to have to give me that one again. Was that sonorous?
I think so.
That is a new word for me. What does it mean?
Like sounding good?
Huh. Took us 127 episodes for you to whip out a word I did not know, and I do not know that word. All right.
Oh, here we go. Sonorous, adjective of a person's voice, imposingly deep and full.
Wow. All right, there you go. That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What up? What up, people? What up, listeners and watchers? We're ready to go. We had to do a little scrambling this week to figure out a time that this show could work amidst all the usual life bullshit. But here we are, and we are going to tell you exactly everything that's going to happen in 2024 because we're that good.
Perfectly.
We hope.
Predict everything perfectly. Yes. And introducing in Florida, the Sunshine State. He is the Nicaragua Nightmare. Omar Artola. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? I think we're gonna do. I don't think I did very well with predictions last year. Breakout Stars, I think, was my biggest thing, but I think I was kind of shit everywhere else. So I don't know how this is gonna work out.
Look, a year is a long time, especially with predicting the champ, who will be champ at the end of the year. That's hard to do.
Dude, a big fucking tree just fell outside of my house. I could tell immediately by the sound.
Like right now?
We're in the middle of a big storm here. I need to go look out my window.
Okay, go.
Please start introing. I'll be right back.
Well, we started introing.
Did you have a storm? Because I had a storm too. I got the tail of the storm. So like I got a lot of rain and a lot of wind and stuff like that. But I know that big eye of the storm was in the Northeast.
Yeah, here in Michigan, it's like a blizzard, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just a bunch of snow. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, we had 47-mile-an-hour gusty winds today.
Wow.
Down here. 27-mile-an-hour sustained. So it was a windy day.
I will say the snow is my least favorite thing about living in Michigan. And that's a silly thing to say because I live in Michigan. Like I should either get over it. I don't know.
Could always move to Florida.
We can always move to Florida. So we don't have the most typical format of show of what our more regular viewers and listeners are used to because we don't have anything to be recapping. We do have some fights to look forward to this coming weekend. That's awesome. And just like this time last year, we have an episode for you folks where we are going to be talking about potential matchups in 2024 that we are looking forward to or potentially looking forward to, potential crossweight dream fights, which I always like to talk about. Maybe my favorite thing to try to predict, which can be kind of tricky, 2024 breakout star predictions. Always going to be interesting. And then the tough one, this is it's like a puzzle. It's like a challenge. Trying to predict who will be the champion in each UFC division at the end of the year. So that's a good 11 and a half months from now. December 31st, 2024, who will be holding the belts in each of the divisions. So was it a tree?
It's not anything I can see. I guess it's in the woods. I live right next to woods.
Oh, that's right.
but it must have been because my wife texted me too, and she was like, a tree definitely just fell. So I don't think we're both wrong about what that sound was, but at least it's not on my property. So that's encouraging.
Well, welcome back. I'm glad your house is okay and your car's.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was just queuing up the episode mark, and now I'll just end by saying that we are going to end the episode by previewing some of the upcoming fights in this weekend's UFC Fight Night. Ankalaev versus Walker 2 going down to the UFC Apex in Vegas. All right. Before we get into any of this fight talk and potential matchup talk and potential champ talk, let's first address our audience. If you're watching this right now on YouTube, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who, you guys are the reason why we do this. Otherwise, me, Mark, and Omar would just be continuing our MMA text thread that we've been maintaining for the past decade or so. But we do this because we want to bring our conversation online to invite other fellow diehard MMA fans into the conversation with us. And if you're watching on YouTube, tickle the thumbs up button. That helps us out. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. My favorite thing, and I know that I'm speaking for all three of us here, drop us a comment below. If you like any of our takes, let us know. If you disagree with any of our takes, let us know down in the comments. We are here for that thoughtful MMA talk. If you want audio only, we got you there. Of course, find us wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on social media at @AndNewMMA show in all the places. Okay. Let's get into this. No name on the marquee. The name on the marquee has got to be And New MMA Show 2024. Let's go. I made a Manhattan for tonight. Cheers.
I made a whiskey.
Hey, look at us.
I made a weed. I made a weed.
Well, cheers to you too, Omar.
Amen.
I don't.
I was gonna say that looked good, Mark. That looked delicious.
It's my normal whiskey is empty, and I opened this other one that someone got me, and it's so fucking strong. And I need this ice to melt a little bit more so I can enjoy this.
Guys, good news. I went to the dentist today. No cavities, so let's clap it up for
Nice.
Very nice. That's funny. I'm going to the dentist in like 3 days.
me. Nice.
We're on the same dentist schedule.
They did say that my gums are receding, so that's not good. But
Yeah, you're old. What can you do?
I mean, they've been telling me that for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Gotta brush the gums.
fucking riveting conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, 2024
fucking MMA.
matchups. Talking about my fucking dentist. 2024 matchups we are looking forward to. Mark, start us off. Give us.
So how do we do this? I don't even remember how we do
I don't
this.
know.
Do
I
we
don't know.
pick like
don't
our
remember
one in a weight class? Like what?
I don't think this has to be very structured. I think this can be just a flowing conversation.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I can
guess
tell
I'll
you right now, I picked like a handful for 2024 matchups. I picked like a couple for the potential crossweight dream fights. I picked like another handful for Breakout
How many do we want?
Stars, and then I did one for each.
Well, I
for
would
each
hope
weight
you
class
did
for
one
the-
for each because that's the requirement.
Well, I was about to leave out 3 of them, so I'm just letting you know I did do all of them.
All right. I mean, I'll start it, I guess, with the big boys, and we can just kind of generally talk and work our way down.
Yeah.
But obviously, I am looking forward to Bones and Stipe if we are ever going to get the two of them in a cage. And even more so after today, I am looking forward to Bones and Aspinall because these boys are going at it online. Have you been seeing this back and forth today?
Yeah, a little bit.
I
Oh,
have.
today? No,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Just more
Bones-
and more like no one being
the
like
latest,
out of
I guess,
pocket
is-
or anything.
Nah. It's just a lot of Bones saying like it's basically just reminding Aspinall that he is the paper champ, that he is nobody, that he has done nothing, and that he is John Jones, and that he needs to just wait in line and shut the fuck up.
And that beating Aspinall does nothing for John's record, and that he doesn't even know who anyone is on Aspinall's record outside of like 4 guys. And when John was winning championships, Tom was a nobody, and so on and so on.
And notice Sergey didn't say shit to nobody, and he's still throwing Sergey into the mix. Like, Sergey didn't do shit. You didn't do shit. You weren't the backup fighter either. Like, Sergey's at home just licking his wounds and being brought into this Twitter fest.
So what did Tom say?
Tom's just trying to get this fight. Tom wants that fight.
He's been a little bit vocal lately about how ridiculous he thinks it is that he has to wait, even though he's the interim champion. And I guess that's what set John off. Like he's been saying, if John can't fight, then Stipe should be fighting him. That kind of thing.
What you know what's funny is that as a fan, I would so much more look forward to at this standpoint in time, would rather see Jones versus Aspinall.
Yeah, I mean, time plays such a big factor in these things that it's like we're getting to this like Mayweather Pacquiao point where it's going to be 5 years after we all actually wanted this fight, and then the fight's not going to live up to, I think, the expectation we all really had in our mind, right? Stipe is going to be so much older. He hasn't fought either. It's not like he's been active throughout this entire time. Right. So it's just, and neither has Jones for the most part. He's fought once and he was in there for 10 seconds. So who knows?
Yeah, hopefully we get both of them. John made a comment too about alluding to that he will have done everything he has to do after he beats Stipe. And then someone said like, so are you retiring? And then he said, no, that's not what I'm saying, but I could, or something like that. So
of course he could.
It seems like he doesn't want to come out and say that he is, which I guess is encouraging for those of us hoping to actually see him fight Aspinall.
I mean, at this point, John has made his way through like 2 or 3 generations of fighters.
Yes.
And there will always be another great young up and coming light heavyweight or heavyweight. So yeah, I mean, at some point he's going to have to stop, and there's going to have been some another huge up and coming young star who is like, oh, but you never fought me. But who cares? Yeah. He's John Jones. You do it. You get 12 title wins in a row. See how easy it is.
I think that's Aspinall's point to a certain extent. Then give me the fucking opportunity, because right now I'm sitting waiting for you two old bastards to do something, and I'm ready to fight. So you can't tell me I don't have anything on my resume when you assholes aren't letting me work. So there's a little bit I get from Aspinall as well. He's asking for a fight. John Jones is hurt until God knows when. Stipe supposedly is ready. So let me get that on my resume. You telling me I don't have a good resume? Let me fight Stipe and let me put it on my resume.
I get it why he's saying that. I still, and I've said this all along, I still will not be shocked if we end up in a scenario where he takes a fight with someone else, because he's just itching and doesn't want to, by the time they announce Bones and Stipe and they announce it for fucking August, is he going to be like, cool, I'll wait till December to fight? Like, I don't know if he is. So
I wonder if you wouldn't, I mean, it would be interesting, right? If you had the heavyweight championship, Jones and Stipe, and then co-headlining, you'd have the interim heavyweight championship.
I don't think they would do that. That makes it seem
messy
to have it on the same card.
Yeah, man. It could go either way. I could see it happening either way with Aspinall either sitting out or fighting somebody. I mean, I'll tell you this. I do think that Tom Aspinall, out of all heavyweights, probably has the best skill set and attribute set to go up against John and to give John a real run for his money.
I mean, we haven't really seen any. The problem with heavyweight, man, is nobody wrestles like John Jones. That's really the reality. You have Curtis Blades, and Curtis Blades, frankly, doesn't do John Jones any justice when it comes to what to look forward to. Like, I can't compare the two and be like, well, you know what I mean? Like, Curtis Blades doesn't really do it for me as far as an overall fighter. John Jones obviously is one of the best, but we haven't seen Tom Aspinall tested, I guess, in that sense, right? We don't really know what his takedown defense is to that extent. We don't really know what his ground game is to that extent, right? Could he Vitor Belfort?
His ground game is great.
No. What I'm saying is can he Vitor Belfort John Jones's arm? Is my point, right? Like, could we see something like that happen in the event John Jones does take him down? Like, I feel like there's just not enough information on Tom Aspinall because we haven't seen him in a lot of these high level, super elite moments for a long period of time. Like, look what he did to Sergey. Yeah. He wasn't in there for that long. He murdered Sergey. So it's,
he beats everyone too quick.
He does.
I mean, yeah, you guys
and
know
we've seen nothing.
That's been my dream fight for like 2 years, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm praying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One other, just since you mentioned Blades, that I am looking forward to at heavyweight is I am really looking forward to this Almeida Blades fight, just because of the questions it's going to answer for us about Jailton Almeida and exactly how good he is. That's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, man, Almeida. Imagine if Almeida fought John. Oh my God.
I can't imagine John wants any part of that, to be honest. Not to say that he's scared. Not to say that he's scared, but there's a risk I feel like that comes with like he's getting into the realm of people that don't really have names, right? Like that don't come with the things that are attached to a name like Stipe, and there are real risks with fighting these guys. So I can't imagine him wanting to put himself at risk for somebody who's going to bring him no value.
Right. At this point, John is a superstar. Yeah.
I think we're going to get 2 fights out of John. I think he's going to fight Stipe, and gun to my head, I think he's going to say, I am going to beat whoever is next out of this new breed. If it's Tom, it's Tom, and plan to walk after that W. Whether he gets that W is a different story, but I think we're getting 2 more fights. That's my guess.
I thought you were
would imagine it seems very John Jones to take the belt, right? Take his belt, beat Stipe, and then be like, I'm gonna fuck this division up, and then beat Tom, and then be like, okay, do what you want. Bye.
Yeah.
You're gonna live in disarray now for the remainder of the heavyweight division.
Yes. That's exactly what it would be.
Okay, moving down now from heavyweight. Unless you guys have any other heavyweight matchups potential.
I'm good to move.
Okay. For me, this is still connected to heavyweight. For 2024, if this could ever happen, other than Alex Pereira versus oh my God, I mean, so many light heavyweights. Like I feel like he still just got to light heavyweight. Just the striking matchup that it would be, I think him versus my man Khalil Roundtree Jr. would just be jaw-dropping Muay Thai on display.
I'm not mad
in
at
the
that.
UFC.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, man. And obviously, him against Jamal Hill would be great.
Yeah,
Jamal
I'm pumped
Hill
for that one.
had to walk
And frankly,
away.
I'm pumped to see the winner of it, potentially, if the cards fall into place, fight Ankalaev, because I think Ankalaev is someone who answers a lot of questions about Hill or Ferreira that we haven't seen them necessarily deter someone who can do the things that he can do. I mean, Hill deterred Glover. Ferreira, we haven't
big time
really seen anything in that regard quite yet.
Yeah,
this is true. Also, I feel like it's been hinted at that Ferreira might move up to even heavyweight at some point, and my matchup that I'm looking forward to is him against any heavyweight, just to see. Give me a giant bucket of popcorn. I'm ready for that to happen this year too.
We have a crossweight dream fight section coming up, Mike.
That's true. Sorry. Okay. Anything
By the
else?
way, you guys seen these recent pictures of Izzy?
No. What?
No.
He looks big.
Oh yeah.
He's
on that shit.
He might have some 205 in his plans.
Dude, imagine if he fights Pereira again at 205.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks fucking jacked.
Is he failing smell tests out here?
Could be.
Okay. Want to go down to middleweight?
Let's do it.
Omar, do you have anything to lead us off with at middleweight?
I do. I want to see Duplessis and Adesanya.
100%.
That's the one I want. There's too much crazy shit that's gone down there, and Duplessis has made he's made an argument. What he did to Robert Whittaker still baffles the shit out of me, and so I think he's earned it, man. And I think especially if he beats Sean Strickland, how can you deny him that fight? That fight is tailor made at this point.
Dude, we need to know who's the All Africa champ. We need to know.
Yeah. If he beats Strickland, the question is, does Izzy deserve a title shot? Not does Duplessis deserve anything?
No, I mean that's fair. That's fair. And I think Izzy would have to come back and at least take one. A Sean Strickland rematch if Sean Strickland loses is probably not the worst idea.
Yeah, I mean that's the money fight at middleweight. I mean Strickland and Duplessis I'm pumped for coming up in a few weeks here, but Duplessis and Adesanya is still the money fight at middleweight right now. Personally, I really still wish we could see my idea of Whitaker and Usman. I know it looks like we're getting Whitaker and Costa, which doesn't do it for me the same way Whitaker and Usman does. But we'll see if we can hit that point at all this year. And then whenever Chimaev is back, whatever run we see out of him is going to be fun as hell, no matter who he fights.
This is true.
Dude, Kamaru Usman has had a rough 2023. Hopefully his 2024 is better, but it's definitely the worst year of his entire career ever.
What was he, 0-2? Just 2 fights?
0-2, but he was coming off of a loss in 2022, which was the only fight he fought in 2022. So it's like, you know,
I mean, he's fighting Leon and Hawes
in years.
That shit'll happen, man. He's fighting killers.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Brendan Allen go up against Vettori, which is obviously happening very soon. But otherwise, I'm really excited to see Brendan Allen. After the year he just had, I'm excited to see him go into the top 5 now. See how he
There's
fares.
something about Brendan Allen that really makes me think he's going to run over Vettori. And like, no shade to Vettori, because I've talked him up here before. I enjoy watching Vettori fight, but there's just something about the way Brendan Allen has just been sunning dudes that just makes me think Vettori is not there.
He really does.
He handles his business.
Like, if he was to beat Vettori and then just like tapped out one of these top guys, I feel like, as much as it would be surprising, I don't think we'd be surprised. Like, he really looks that dialed in right now.
And he's so unassuming, right? It's not like he's a Costa. It's not like he's this dude that comes in with this visible aura of I could fuck anybody up. But when he gets in there and when he's doing what he's doing, he's really fucking good, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, middleweight's really fun right now, quietly. Yeah. I mean, you got Strickland, Izzy, Duplessis, as we just said, Whitaker hanging around, Usman if he's there, Cannonier's going to be coming back from injury, Brendan Allen if he wins that fight, Costa, Chimaev trying to work his way up. Like, there are a lot of names at middleweight right now. There could be some real fun fights in that division this year.
Yeah, man. It seems a little bit like up in the air.
And a lot of guys who could all beat each other. It's almost like the new welterweight, I feel.
Totally. Speaking of segues, there you go. Good job, Mark.
You're welcome.
Let's talk welterweight matchups we are excited to potentially see this year. What's so funny?
I got another 185 fight I forgot to mention. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, everybody. That's the 185 fight I want to see.
I'm not referring to that as a middleweight fight. Get out of here.
Never. It's gonna be a 205, guys.
Did you see that? Did you see that video though? Because there's something that just still entertains me so about Conor McGregor videotaping himself. Dating myself with the term videotaping, but videotaping himself trolling the entire world on New Year's Eve.
I really hope that's bullshit and that the fight's at 170. 185 is so fucking stupid.
He's cackling. I can't imagine he's telling the truth. He's
really
actually cackling in that video at when he says 185. Yeah.
I really hope not.
Nah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Let's talk welterweight. Mark, lead us off with some 170 matchups.
I mean, of course it is going to be nice to see Leon and Bilal and have that question answered, but I'm looking a little past it and I'm hoping we get Leon and Shavkat. That's my top welterweight fight we can make at the moment.
Yes.
Bilal could prove me wrong and ruin those plans, but if I could make one right now, that's the one I'm making.
Honestly, I think they're both screwed when it comes to Shavkat. I don't think it matters whether it's Leon or whether it's Bilal. I think Shavkat there's something crazy about that kid. The way he's able to just run over people the way that he has been is just wild.
He's just so good everywhere. He's so good at everything. He's such a good striker. He's such a strong grappler. He's huge for the division.
Yep. The only hole he has shown, which helps Bilal less than it helps Leon, is that he will get hit cleanly. So maybe Leon could find the off switch. Bilal less of a factor in that regard. But that's the only thing I can say negatively about Shavkat is that he will almost willingly eat shots, and thus far his chin's been fine. But you wonder what a sniper like Leon could do if he gets that chance.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
man.
I didn't realize Leon was 6 foot. Motherfucker's tall.
I think he's listed at 6 foot. He doesn't seem like a real tall guy to me.
He doesn't, but
Rachmanov's
Shavkat does, so I thought there would be some sort
Yeah.
of height discrepancy there, but they're
How tall
apparently an inch
Shavkat?
off.
6'3".
6'1"?
No.
I was close.
And he looks like a tall dude. He looks significantly taller than Leon, just comparing them in my mind, not having seen them next to each other. But apparently they should be right there.
Oh, I didn't think they were so different. Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, I did too.
My other welterweight. I mean, these you could make a million fights in all these divisions that are great, but
Sure,
we have to move on to other things. But if I could pick one other welterweight fight, let's get Ian Gary and Wonderboy in a cage.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, that would be great. Or MVP and Wonderboy.
Oh my god. Yeah. Totally.
I keep
honestly
MVP's coming.
Give Ian Gary till the end of the year, and you might need Ian Gary versus MVP too, just for the promotional aspect. Ian Gary knows how to sell himself, man. He's doing work in the welterweight division there, and actually, if he racks up and actually fights this year and racks up some wins along with that mouth, I mean,
that move,
he's right on track.
That was bad. 3 up and comers at welterweight who are cracking into the top 10 now are Gary, Della Maddalena, and Renat Fakhretdinov, who's 15th in the UFC right now.
Yep.
Those 3 guys. Watch out for those 3 guys, man.
Even Brady, you could mention in that breath too.
Sure. Yeah, Sean Brady's like, what is he, 16 and 1?
New to the mix for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. Onwards and upwards. Lightweight. We have Islam Makhachev still at the top of the heap as the lightweight champ. We have Charles do Bronx Oliveira right there. Omar, what do you think?
Honestly, man, the one I want to see is Poirier and Nate Diaz. That's the one I want.
Nate Diaz is not under contract.
That don't mean he can't fight.
Yeah, but the rumors are swirling.
Sure.
Come on, dog. You know how this works.
Come on, dog. Yeah, man. One fight deal.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
know.
love to see that fight.
Yeah, of course I'd love to see it, but I don't know. We're talking about
It
Nate
broke
Diaz.
yesterday now that apparently Nate and Jorge are going to box each
Yeah.
other. So I don't know, I had hopes though that we might see Nate on UFC 300, but maybe not.
I'll tell you this: the fight that
Oh my
actually
God.
I am most
They're going to make so much money.
so much money. Oh my God, just boxing? Stop.
Holy shit.
I wonder if it's going to be for Jorge's promotion. It might be.
Could be.
I remember Jorge saying he wasn't going to fight for his own promotion.
He did say that, yeah.
Oh, okay. For me, the lightweight matchup that I am most looking forward to is the rematch between Islam and Charles.
Me too, except it might end up being a rematch of Islam and Sarukian instead because Charles got to get past Sarukian now.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, either of those, whether Islam is fighting Charles or Sarukian, is going to be great. And so will Islam and Gaethje if that's ever going to fucking happen.
Do you know we've been saying this kid's name wrong apparently this whole time, or at least pronouncing it not correctly?
Who?
I thought it was Armin Sarukian. It's Sarukian.
Oh, okay.
They don't say that on the
Sarukian?
broadcast.
That was I was listening to the podcast, John Anik's podcast.
But he doesn't say that when
he does.
when he-
Well, I don't know, but that's what he was saying during the podcast.
Sarukian.
Sarukian? I've never heard him say that when announcing his fights.
It's probably not even that. It's probably like Sarukian or something like that. If you want to say like how to say it his way, the proper way, like in Armenian, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put my foot in my mouth, so I'm going to shut up.
I'll switch gears slightly and say I also wish, but I don't know if it can happen anymore, that we could see Usman Nurmagomedov versus AJ McKee, because I had high hopes of seeing that fight this year and it all fell to shit. And now PFL's involved, so I don't even know if that's still something we can do, but I would love to see it.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. I know we have Benoit Saint-Denis against Poirier, but
Yeah.
dude, how exciting is Saint-Denis, man? Him against anybody right now, I'm like, fucking tune in.
Dude, I
Yeah.
said when he finished for Vola I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something along the lines on this podcast of if any of these random up-and-comer guys have a shot at getting like a Poirier or Gaethje to fight them, I think Benoit might have the best shot simply because he carries that aura of like invincible violence. And I could see one of them being like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to stop that guy. And maybe that's what Poirier thought because here we are.
You did say that on the show?
I'm 99% sure. Now I got to go back and try to find it.
See, at this point, Mark has enough of these Nostradamus predictions. If and when we have a bigger following, we need somebody out there to like clip together Mark's like a 3-month ago thing that he says in the show, like, and it like fully coming true. It happened again tonight over the text. What got announced, and you were like, with the
Josh Parisian,
the Cuban guy, Parisian.
Yes, yep.
You were like, that's what I said would be the perfect matchup. Yeah. Josh Parisian being offered up as sacrificial heavyweight.
And Omar was like, no, that's not fair. And I was like, yeah, but that's probably what'll happen.
Anyway.
For the record, still think it's pretty unfair for Josh Parisian, but here we are.
Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun.
Pay that man his money, man. Pay that man his money. All right. Let's go to featherweight, right? We're good with lightweight?
Yes, yes.
Omar, lead us off with your favorite potential featherweight matchups this year.
I did not have one for featherweight. Like I said, I picked a handful of fights that I was just looking forward to.
I cannot wait for Yair and Ortega too. Such an unanswered question that I need to be answered, and I can't wait for it.
Honestly, I can't wait for this title fight with Topuria and Volk.
Yes, that's also going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one for featherweight that I have to pick, it would probably be the Volk and Topuria one. That one, to me, is just going to answer all the questions because Topuria at this point has been relatively flawless. Alexander Volkanovski at featherweight especially, obviously, has been flawless. So, I can't tell you who I think is going to win that fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight. Volk feels a little bit vulnerable for the first time. Like we talked about this, but like once you see him lose, it's like, fuck, could it happen again? Topuria's really good.
Yeah.
I'll give you one other. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, please finish your thought.
I was just gonna say I'll give you one other since I threw a Bellator one out there last weight class. Again, I don't know if this is off the table, but I was really pumped to see Aaron Pico get his shot against Pitbull. And I don't know if we're still doing that, but I hope we are one way or another.
That's a good one.
Agreed.
My house is falling down. It is there is a twister outside.
You're like, Pierce Brosnan just knocked on my door to track this twister. That is a deep cut. Any other millennials or Gen Xers who are listening?
It was not Pierce Brosnan, dog. It was not Pierce Brosnan. You want to put money on that, dog? Because I watch Twister on like a monthly basis.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
So both of you know when I said there was a Twister outside, I was picturing Wizard of Oz.
Oh, well, Jesus Christ. Nah, I was also picturing Twister from the 90s like Mike was. But it is not Pierce Brosnan. It is, what is this? Bill Paxton.
It was Bill Paxton? Is it Paxton or Paxton?
Paxton.
Are you sure? How sure are you in that? Are you confident?
I would put up my house for that. I'm 100% sure.
What was Pierce Brosnan in? Was he in the Volcano one, the movie?
He was in Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak! That movie was so
Volcano is a better
sad
movie, but yes, he was in Dante's Peak.
Don't question no more about movies ever.
Amen.
True.
Amen.
Dude, the scene in Dante's Peak where the grandma or like the old lady got out of the boat in the acid lake. Oh, that was so sad and also horrific to see as a kid. Who told her to get out? Oh yeah.
Who told her to get out the boat?
Okay. Oh, I was just going to say real quick.
Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yes, Exhibit A. One last note for featherweight for me. somewhat recent performance of Josh Emmett sending Bryce Mitchell, who is still somewhat of an up-and-comer in the top 10, and sending him to the Shadow Realm.
I think he bypassed the Shadow Realm, dog.
Dude, I'm still very curious about Josh Emmett. He's still ranked 6th in the featherweight division in what is a stacked division, one of the most stacked divisions in the promotion. And Josh Emmett is a guy who it never was this like young up and coming guy. He's an older guy in the division who's found sort of a second wind in his career, and he is like one of the hardest hitters pound for pound in the sport. And I'm curious to see what kind of year he has, because coming off of that win against Bryce Mitchell, where he looked so good with that one hitter quitter, and he can do that to anybody. And I'm always struck by this whenever we preview a Josh Emmett fight, and I look at his record. For a guy who is such a knockout artist, if he has 15 career wins, you would think that like 12 of them would be by knockout, but they're like 4 have been by or something. A surprisingly small number of overall wins have come by knockout, which only makes me feel that he kind of discovered or unlocked his power, I guess maybe a little later in his career, maybe. I wonder what he would say to that, but I wonder if he's going to have sort of a Jan Blachowicz kind of year this year, where he's kind of been a journeyman kind of a guy, if you know what I'm trying to say, and kind of has had his ups and downs, but he just strings together like 3-4 great wins, and next thing you know, he's in a title shot again, and next thing you know, maybe he has gold wrapped around his waist by the end of the year. But we'll see.
I think that division especially is going to be difficult for him, because there are always going to be those couple guys that stylistically he's 9 out of 10 times is probably going to lose to, right? Like if you find a guy that's stronger than Josh Emmett's done, right? There's not very many guys that are significantly stronger than him, but Topuria is, and I guarantee you so is Volkanovski, even with like the foot difference that they probably have between each other. If you got guys that are dynamic, that are really good at long range striking, that won't let Emmett come inside, Emmett's a little fucked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We saw that with Yair. Yair gave 0 opportunity for Josh Emmett to land any of that bullshit on him. I think Yair might have gotten hit maybe once, maybe twice, something like that. But even still, those were, I mean, compared to what landed on Bryce Mitchell's face, those were glancing shots. Nothing landed like clean directly into the center of his face. So I think that Josh Emmett has a ceiling in that division as long as the guys at the top remain at the top. I think he's an elite fighter for sure, but his style doesn't lend well to some of the guys that are there currently.
Yeah, all well said. Okay, bantamweight. Let's look at bantamweight. Mark, start us off with your preferred fantasy matchups, potential matchups.
I didn't get too crazy here. I mean, the obvious ones, obviously, I'm looking forward to O'Malley and Cheeto. I'm looking forward to Rob getting his crack at Henry. The only outside of the box thing I noted is that I wish somehow contractually we could get Patchy Mix into the UFC.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are quality guys in Bellator, but like he's beaten most of them now at this point. PFL doesn't even have bantamweights, so like I don't want to see someone this good kind of waste away with nothing big to do. Again, like obviously there's guys he can fight, but he deserves to have a huge spotlight on him, and I don't think he's going to get that at bantamweight anywhere besides the UFC. So I wish there was a way for that to happen somehow this year.
Agreed. So many potential matchups here because their champ, Sean O'Malley, has not fought that many top 10 guys or top 5 guys. Right?
Yeah.
In the top 5, he has only fought Aljo and Piotr Jan. He hasn't fought Corey, hasn't fought Cejudo, hasn't fought Merab.
Sean and Corey is so fun.
I know. I think that's mine.
But this is, I mean, that's kind of what happened, I feel like, with McGregor after a certain point, especially in the featherweight division. Like he fought the people they put in front of him, but after a certain point, it's not like he cleaned out that division. He was there. He was a very wham bam, thank you ma'am kind of guy. You know what I mean? He got his belt and he got the fuck out of there. Toot sweet.
I tell you what else would be a really cool matchup if he can make it happen this year with maybe a couple more wins, and if he can get to a title shot. Davison Figueiredo versus Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
If O'Malley's still there, former champ versus champ would be very, very cool.
That, I mean, you would think O'Malley's reach there would really give him the edge, especially because he knows how to use it.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that McGregor's featherweight run included him beating Max, Poirier, Mendez, and Aldo.
No, it did.
Pretty good.
It did. And like I said, it's not like he didn't. McGregor also didn't pick his fights though. McGregor was very much like, who's next? You know, give me somebody who's next. Oh, this person broke his fucking foot. Great. Who's next? Put somebody in the slot. Like, I never give McGregor shit. This was all obviously the UFC's fault, but Max Holloway was also not Max Holloway at the time. Dustin Poirier had still, I don't think, had hit his peak at that point either. Chad Mendez, I would argue, was probably at the height of his career at that time. So that was a very good win. I think the best win, and at the time, the best win for him because everybody had thoughts about what he was going to do against a wrestler, the first wrestler he was really fighting. He's not going to do well. And he beat the shit out of Chad Mendez, at least in the second round.
I want to counter about Max. He lost to Conor and then never lost again for 6 years. So he was pretty damn good.
Like, it's not like he was bad, but he also beat Max on one leg. I don't think that if you had that same fight, if you had the same fight now between the two guys, or at least when McGregor was at 145 as the champion, I don't know if it would have went. I don't think it would have went anything like that first fight. I think Max was still very wet in the division. I don't think that if you look at who Max beat after Conor, it's not like Max went on to beat crazy names directly after Conor won.
No, but no one ever beat him for 6 years.
Agreed. There's definitely no dispute there. But the quality of opponent, I think, allowed Max to continue that nice trajectory where McGregor was consistently shot out of a fucking cannon. Next person, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Flyweights. We're almost done with this portion here. Then we're going to get to the ladies.
For me, it's Kape. I want to see Kape against Pantoja, even though we've already seen it once. I want to see it again. I want to see Kape against Moreno. I want to see him against these top guys. And then I guess another one would be Ankalaev breaking into this upper echelon and matching up with these dudes too is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you, man. I think Kape can go very, very far.
For me, it's Albazi, actually. I think Albazi is finally at a point now where he can really make some waves, really make some moves. As long as he doesn't drop the ball, man. I mean, he's literally knocking at the door of greatness right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also excited to hear about or to see what Muhammad Ankalaev has in store for himself this year.
Yeah, me too. He's
so
so
young.
You think, like, if he can beat these guys already at this age, at the top of his division, it's a scary dude.
I'm also hopeful, although this probably won't happen, but a Matt Schnell Sumaderji rematch would be nice.
That would be dope.
Okay, women. The ladies. Let's go to women's bantamweight.
Don't skip featherweight. I got 2 big featherweight fights I'm looking forward to.
No,
who do you want?
Who do you want from outside the UFC?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we got 2 big ones on the docket.
Yes, women's 145. So sorry.
Pacheco Cyborg and Harrison Cyborg. Give me whatever one we're going to get. Hopefully both. I am here for both.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I said, once Norma Dumont was out of the mix, your boy was out of featherweight.
They are potentially, like, I don't want to say, I don't know what the right word is, because it's certainly not like career making. Cyborg's career is long ago made. But, like, if she ever beat Pacheco and Kayla back to back, or like finish them both back to back, she would be like, you could argue she's the GOAT of all women ever. It would really be a a final stamp on her resume. I mean, obviously she lost to Amanda, and most people are going to say Amanda's won, but there's a discussion to be had,
especially
The
after
girl-
Amanda lost to Juliana Pena.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Cyborg has nothing else.
yeah.
The GOAT girl. Okay. Women's but listen, what about Norma Dumont, guys?
She's
They
bantamweight
need to
now.
start giving that girl some fights.
No.
I'm
for
sure
real.
she's not thrilled about having to cut weight again, though.
Her fight just fell off. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Yana
think I saw
Santos.
It got canceled, right?
Let's
Yeah, it was supposed to be for this weekend, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, there you go. I was gonna say I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
let's talk about bantamweight, the championless division, which is pretty rare. The current GOAT, Amanda Nunes, has retired, leaving a gaping hole atop the women's bantamweight division. You have Juliana Pena ranked first in the UFC rankings. Also, Raquel Pennington still there at the top of the division after all these years. Mayra Bueno Silva, Kellen Vieira, Irene Aldana is still 5. Holly Holm is still 6th. Mark, give me a name. Give me 2 names. Who do you want to see fight at bantamweight?
I'll give you a name that you didn't say. I think the most interesting thing that could happen at bantamweight this year is that Valentina Shevchenko finally moves back up to bantamweight.
Wow.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I love that.
Especially since it's fairly beatable at the top.
That's so funny. I
Don't
actually had that
disrespect
same
my girl,
thought.
Juliana Pena.
Did you?
I did, and I added one of these fights to the crossweight fights that we'll get to in a minute. But I thought this would be the perfect time to have that crossweight fight for Valentina.
That's
now
true.
at
I
this
guess I
point,
should have
the
saved that
rematch.
for crossweight.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
I
did
also
have that
want-
thought too.
I'd also like to see Tate and Holm. I think that's a fight worth making.
Yep,
And
that was
running
mine.
back at this
Yep.
point in their careers.
If Shevchenko doesn't move up and fight for the belt right away, is there a fight made right now for the strap?
Pennington
Juliana
and
and,
Bueno Silva.
Is in Pena? Oh, Bueno
No,
Silva.
not Pena.
My
Pena's
bad.
hurt. It's Pennington and Bueno Silva.
Oh,
Man,
that's right.
And
That's right.
the assumption is that Pena is going to fight whoever wins it.
Yeah,
But it's for the belt. Whoever wins is the champion, Pennington and Silva.
I got to meet Pena at APFC last year. I shook her hand. It's very cool. She's very nice.
Nice.
I got to meet
Fan for
Bennington
life.
actually. At
Oh, yeah?
the UFC Expo that year that I went with Francesca. Super nice, super jacked. Like she was also a lot
Yeah,
bigger
for
than I was
sure.
expecting her to be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Dude, all these 35 girls, these 135 girls,
She
they
was-
probably walk
I feel
around like 150, 160 pounds.
Yeah, but she wasn't like super small either, like short, and so she was just very
She's tall.
She was very compact, but she was all, you know what I mean. But for 135 pounds, like my fat ass walks around at 180, so it was just fitting all 135 into that frame. Where I guess walking around probably like 150 in that frame. You know, she's solid, man.
How do you think Misha's going to do this year?
Who knows, dude?
I mean, I could see her beat Holly if that's a matchup that she got. I'd
They
probably
run
pick
that
Holly.
back? Wow.
I'd probably pick Holly though, man.
I mean, she wasn't winning the first fight.
That's true too. But she
Yeah.
did win the first fight.
She
Sure
did. She did. But she won that shit like she was gonna die though. Like she was clawing at Holly Holm, just trying to get any piece of her attached to her, and eventually she did. But
That
I
was
mean, for
incredible, that
for
fight. I love
4
that
plus
fight.
rounds,
It
man,
was.
Tate was losing. I don't want to say she was getting her ass beat because it wasn't all that
No.
either, but she was losing.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool rematch to happen. Dude, I was so happy when Misha Tate won the belt.
Oh, me too.
It's a
It was
great moment.
Yes.
Okay, women's flyweight. Valentina's still at the top unless she moves up to bantamweight, as you guys alluded to. Alexa Grasso has the belt. We have our girl, Erin Blanchfield, Manon Fior. Chukagian is still up there. Andrade is still a top 5. What do you think, Omar?
I think Macy Barber is knocking on the door.
Let's go.
I think there's a lot of good fights for Macy Barber this year. I think she looked a lot better, I thought, this past year than she did prior to that. I think if we're being honest though, man, I think Grasso, especially with this belt, if Shevchenko moves up, I think there's a lot of good opportunity for Grasso to put in a lot of good work at flyweight. I really think Shevchenko is probably the hardest fight currently for her, and I think she did well in both. I think if there's a fight that I'm looking forward to, it's probably going to be Grasso and Blanchfield, man, because Blanchfield is also real fucking good.
Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Mine's a little more generic. It's kind of that there's like 4 girls in this division right now in Valentina, Alexa, Blanchfield, and Fior. And we still don't have the Valentina Grasso answer. Blanchfield and Fior still haven't got their shot at the top. And I kind of feel like it's like this foursome of we don't actually know who the best girl is. So I just hope we get like maybe Valentina, Alexa again. Obviously, we know we're getting Blanchfield and Fior, and then the winner's able to fight each other, and that we get this question answered this year of who is truly the best flyweight.
Her name is Erin Blanchfield. Mark. the champion has a name. Her name is Erin Blanchfield.
I also really want to see Andrade and Esparza, which I always bring up, but we've still never seen it, and I need to see it.
Yeah, it's true.
How far? Because I know Esparza just had a kid, and I thought that was why she.
Yeah, she's back pretty soon now.
She is back pretty soon. Okay.
Last I
when that was
heard, because she's been out forever.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, let's finish up with strawweight. We got Zhang Weili sitting proudly at the top. Carla's ranked first in the UFC rankings. Yan Xiaonan, Tatiana Suarez, watch out. Marina Rodriguez is still there. Mackenzie Dern still holding on to a top 10 spot.
Wait, I just fucked up divisions.
Andrade, yeah, I was just thinking to myself, you put
this division.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Redeem yourself, Mark. Give us your hopeful matchup for this year.
Oh, it's Suarez getting a title shot.
Let's go.
To me, she gets past Lemos, and then whoever is the champ at that time. I don't know if we're gonna get like Weili and Yan first, which I'm totally down with if we are, but I want to see Suarez get her title shot.
Agree.
Honestly, man, I can't see Suarez losing right now. Like I think we're kind of at that point in her career where she had a lot of hype behind her before her injury. She looked good back then. She looked just as good, I thought, when she came back. I think she's good, man. I think Tatiana Suarez is going to end up, spoilers. I think she's going to end up being the champ and holding that belt by the end of the year. But I think her and Weili is going to be is an eventuality, I think, at this point. So I'm hoping that happens sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the matchup for me is Suarez challenging for the title against Weili. That is the best fight you can make at 115 pounds. Period.
And
thank you very much.
I'm gonna tell you right now too, if that does happen, her and Patchy Mix could really do something as far as getting some money based off of the fact that they are a championship couple, 2 organizations. There's money to be had there all over the place for a situation like that.
Hopefully she can get him into the UFC.
Would that be a first? I guess it would.
Of champion couple?
I guess so. They're not the first couple for sure, but
even across organizations.
In terms of champs
organizations, I think so.
Wow.
Oh no, okay. Cyborg and Cyborg though. Cyborg wasn't a champion.
I thought about them, but male Cyborg was not champion of a major promotion.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. There you have it. Let's transition now over to talking about potential cross-weight dream fights.
My house is getting fucking pelted with things.
Omar, go first.
My first one is Ian Gary and Sean Strickland. Like, I
Let's
want that
go.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yep. That's a great fight.
And that would be a great fight.
Yes,
Sean
from a
Strickland's
stylistic
guy.
standpoint, that would be a fantastic fight. But like the drama, it's the drama.
The shit talk. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Strickland would be merciless at those press conferences.
Honestly, so would Gary. I think it would be
totally.
the two of them just going back and forth with each other, and they both have very different deliveries as to how they do things. It would just be a shit show. Let's be honest. It would be a massive shit show, but a lot of fun.
But Gary's a guy has good attributes and good size for welterweight. Strickland's a guy who we know, and if you don't know, he's a middleweight champ, but he used to fight at 170 pounds. So I don't think they're too far off. Gary obviously is going to be the taller man. I think that'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
I wouldn't
That'd
even be
great.
mad to see Gary move up to 185 to do it either, to be honest. I don't
Oh,
know
he'd
if he
have
can
to.
stay at
Strickland's
180.
not making 170 anymore.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
No.
He's gotten pretty big, dude.
He's
He's filling out. He's filling out.
He looks like he walks around at 200 plus, like on a
Yeah, he's a
regular
big man.
basis.
He's a big guy. He's a big, tall guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, give us one.
My first one is a little bit outside the box, and I'm sure it's not going to happen. But UFC 300 is a little desperate for star power, and it's supposed to have these prestigious fights on this famous card. I wish we could find a way to get Demetrius Johnson back in the UFC for one more and have him fight Pantoja at UFC 300. It would be incredible. And he is supposedly done with one. I don't know what the money and contract situation is, but that would be my number one dream if I could pick it, to see him in the UFC again.
Okay.
I had no idea Demetrius Johnson was done at one. When the fuck did that happen?
That's why I clarified. I don't know contractually, but he has said that he may not be fighting anymore. So I don't know if they still own his rights or not. I don't know the exact status.
Very well.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
Again, I doubt it happens, but it would be a fucking hell of a way to pump up UFC 300.
They should have at least one weird gimmicky fight in there of sorts.
That's not a gimmicky fight. He's the best flyweight on the planet.
But not gimmicky like fucking Jake Paul, but gimmicky like that, where you take Demetrius Johnson out of retirement or out of whatever, and you bring him in out of nowhere to fight, the bantamweight or the flyweight champion of the world. You know what I mean?
Yes. Fair.
Gimmicky in that sense.
Well,
Mike, you get this one?
I'll go back to the thing I alluded to earlier, and I really would love to see Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight at some point and try to be the first 3-division champ and fight whoever is there at the time, whether it's John Jones or Aspinall or I don't know. But that's
it would be nuts.
Dog,
it would be nuts.
No way. There's no way. Like,
No way,
I
what?
just imagine, I imagine Pereira standing next to Tom Aspinall, and I can't imagine that he doesn't get slept by Tom Aspinall. Like, it doesn't compute for me.
I ain't going to tell him he can't try.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I don't see it.
What's your next one?
I have Makhachev and Edwards. Makhachev, not Makhachev. Makhachev versus Edwards.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I definitely need that fight at this point. I mean, Makhachev has done stuff already. It could be more. I wish he was more active, but if we're going to have a limited run with this guy, I think that would be a good fight to have.
For sure. Mark,
My next one, the first guy in it would have to do more, I think, to make this bookable, and a year may not be enough time to do enough. But God, I would love to see Sean O'Malley and Max Holloway in a cage together.
Hell
Whew.
yeah, man. I've
That's a
never
good
even
one.
thought about that.
They're not even dissimilar in size. Like their
It's
height's
true.
almost the same. I think O'Malley's reach is longer.
Yeah.
Not I think, it definitely is. I would love to just see them two throw hands.
Oh my God.
I don't
I've
hate it.
never even thought about that potential
The
matchup.
only reason it crossed my mind is because I was listening to O'Malley and Taporia go at each other. So then I was like, man, could O'Malley fight at featherweight? And then my brain just went, oh my God, he could fight Max Holloway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had never thought about it before either.
Who knows? Omar, do you have any others?
My last one is Pena versus Shevchenko 2. Kind of alluded to it earlier, but that,
I have that too.
I need that. I need that. We're 7 years removed now from that fight, and I think we're about that time.
My other one that has been hinted at a little bit is Islam Makhachev moving up to challenge Leon for the belt for welterweight.
That's what Omar just said.
No, he didn't.
Where were
He
you?
just said Pena versus Shevchenko.
No, right before that.
Oh, I don't listen to him. My bad.
Good God.
Well, then I agree with Omar that would be a great one to see. Mark, do you have any others?
I think I have two more.
Hopefully it's not Pena and Shevchenko too, because I said that already.
I mean, I had that as well. But sticking with Max, and again, I don't know how any of this fucking shit is working with the Bellator dudes and what's even possible and who can get out of contracts and who can't. But man, if we are ever going to see Pitbull against Max, it seems like now could be the time if he could somehow dip on whatever this PFL deal is and get himself into the UFC before it's too late. I would love to see Pitbull versus Max. Obviously, we would have loved to have seen it 3-4 years ago, but I would still watch it today. And then my one other one, same weight class, is now that Aljo is a featherweight, I would love to see him and Brian Ortega and see the grappling that ensues.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. I think that does it then, right? For our crossweight dream fights.
I believe
that does
so.
it.
Okay. Predicting 2024 Breakout Stars. Here we go. Let's start. What were we going to say?
Will we do this by weight class?
That's
And
what
if
I
you
was
don't
thinking.
have any in that weight class, you don't have any?
Yeah, sure.
Or how do you want to do it? Okay.
That's fine. Should we start from the bottom and move up in weight, or start at the
Yeah, we can switch it up. Sure.
I have nobody in the top weights. I just realized when you said that almost everybody is like 145 or below.
I have a few weights where I have NA. I think 3.
Okay, Mark, start us off.
It's a
Women's
welterweight.
strawweight.
So I look at this two ways, and I know we talked about this last week, how we view the term breakout. For me, it could mean someone who is not necessarily someone who is viewed right now as just being like in the pack, breaking out of that pack to becoming a contender, or it could mean someone who is a contender breaking out to be a star or a champion. So for women's strawweight, I only have the latter. I don't really see anyone right now who truly stands out that I think is going to become a contender from the women we're watching right now. But I think Tatiana Suarez truly breaks out and becomes the champion.
I agree. That's who I would have for women's strawweight as well. For that exact same reason. You said it better than I ever could. Because she had such a long layoff. She's back and she's going to prove just how good she is. And she's, I think, poised to become one of the next household names in women's MMA.
Yep.
Omar.
I actually thought about Lupi Godinez. I thought Lupi had a great year this past year. She won 4 in a row. Right. I think the UFC Mexico with UFC Noche Mexico kind of trying to be an annual thing now. I think it gives her a good platform for her and her fans. And I think the one thing that we talked about it, the show that we did after UFC Noche, where her and Tracy Cortez got so much attention in that crowd, and the arena wasn't even full. But when those two ladies walked out to do their thing, the screaming and the cheering and everything made it sound like that arena was completely packed. So I think there's something there. I think with the right matchups, the right exposure, should they continue to win? I do think Tracy Cortez also kind of falls in line with that as well, to be honest. But I just think the consistency that Lupi Godinez has over Tracy's inactivity, I think, is really what put me over the top there. So I think Lupi's gonna break out in terms of her success, in terms of her notoriety, people being able to recognize her, and I think she's gonna end up being, I think, probably top 5 ideally by the end of the year.
Yeah, I thought about it. I didn't put her down because I didn't quite believe she could hit that top 5 level. But yeah, I like your pick.
Okay, right, I will go up to women's flyweight. I will go first. She kind of is the only one in my brain right now who I think is really up and coming. Well, that's not quite true, but I think we picked Erin Blanchfield last year, didn't we? All 3 of us.
We did, and we nailed that.
We did nail it. But I was just going to say, like, I almost wanted to pick her again this year because I think she, now could potentially win a title.
You could.
But since we picked her 12 months ago, I think, she's retired in this category. So for similar reasons, I'm going to go with Macy Barber. I think this year she lives up to her nickname. I think she's going to string together a few nice wins. It always seems like when she's in the winners column, the promotion wants to get behind her. I just feel the energy from it.
Yeah, they do.
I think because she's very pretty, like her. And she's a fan favorite, and she has a lot going for her. Okay, yeah. What do you guys think for women's fly?
Mine is Natalia Silva, 4-0 in the UFC so far, 2-0 in 2022, 2-0 in 2023. She has just crept into the rankings of late. I don't remember exactly how high she is. She may even be up around 10. I can't remember, but I think even if she is that high, it's kind of quietly that high. I don't think a ton of people are incredibly familiar with Natalia Silva, and I think that she is legit and is going to have a big year.
Okay, Omar.
That's also mine. I would also kind of echo the same statements about Tracy Cortez. I think if she can get her consistency in line, I think that she's got a good following. I think that she's got a lot of eyes on her that want her to win, and she brings a good fan base. So I really think that if she can get the consistency thing under control and really continue to be in the octagon for the year 2024, I think that she goes back to, because I think at one point she was still, even before, I don't know if it was before the pandemic, but like people enjoyed watching her fight, and then she just kind of, between injuries and whatever else is going on, like just didn't step foot into the octagon as much anymore. So hopefully, like I said, if we get that figured out, I think she can really be a breakout star in 2024.
Boom. Okay. Women's bantamweight. I will go first because I have to say, I don't know for women's bantamweight. I took a long look at these top 15 rankings, and unless there's somebody outside of the rankings who you guys think is going to catapult up through the rankings this year and become a bigger name. So I'm just going to go with my girl, Norman Dumont, and say that now that she has to cut weight to 135, she's going to take over the division.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
That's not bad. I didn't pick anyone here. Same as you, I scanned it. I didn't really see anyone who jumped out that I thought was a clear candidate. So I got no one in this division. Norma, I just called you Norma. Omar, do you have Norma as well?
Norma Dumont is my pick. She's going to be champion by the end of 2024. Let's go.
Let's go. Geez.
No, it's not.
Okay, so we
That's
have
not true. It's not true.
Men's flyweight. Here we go. I'll go first. I don't know. I don't remember. Did I pick him last year? I'm going to go with Muhammad Makayev, maybe again. Because he kind of had a weird year last year. I think he only fought once off the top of my head.
Makayev?
I
think he fought more than once.
Yeah?
No? Twice.
Okay.
Filio and Elliott.
Okay. I very well may have picked him last year.
I think you did. I think we all did.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm going to stick with the pick then because he has not, I don't think he's become a huge star just yet because he only fought twice last year. And so, yeah, there you have it. He's so young. He's so talented. And I think it is an inevitability that he's going to march further up into this top 10. I think he'll be top 5 by the end of the year. And he's going to be a big old star. He's going to make a lot of money. Mark?
I'm going to give you 4 at flyweight. I think there's a lot of breakouts in this division, and 3 of them I picked last year. Kape, I picked last year. I am picking him for the same level of breakout as I was then. It just didn't happen then because of all his booking issues, but I think it finally happens this year. 2 that I picked last year to kind of break onto the scene were Ankalaev and Tatsuro Taira, which both did happen. Now I think I am picking them again to kind of hit the next level of where they are. And then I'll also throw in Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley's a dude who came in with some hype. He has a lot of talent. You can see it when he fights, but he's been a little up and down. I want to say he's 2-2 thus far. I could see him riding the ship and that natural talent kind of getting harnessed in some smarter fighting out of him, and him having a strong year where he's a name people are mentioning.
Mm-hmm. Omar?
I did not have anybody for flyweight. I guess if I had to pick somebody, it would probably be Taira as well, just because I think, just like Mark said, Taira, I think, broke in with his performances, but I think he hasn't. I think he's very much off the radar for casuals and people that aren't obsessive like we are. But I think we're going to get to that point, I believe, this year, especially with good matchups, good exposure. I think people are going to know who Tatsuro Taira is.
Okay, welterweight. Featherweight.
Bantamweight.
Excuse me. My bad. Bantamweight. Did I just say every weight class? Okay, bantamweight. Here we go. Mark, take this one first.
So this is my other one where I have a lot of guys. They happen to be one after the other. I have Merab, who I think breaks through as a champion.
Huh.
Which I guess is a spoiler alert for what we have coming up in a little bit. And then I got 3 guys in the UFC who are kind of on the verge of contendership, who I think truly break through, and that is Kyler Phillips, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Javid Basharat. I think all 3 of them are filthy. I probably won't hit on all 3, but I would like to think at least 2 of those guys can deliver on the talent that they have. And then the wild card is Patchy Mix if he actually fucking finds a way to get over here, but we'll see.
Hell yeah, dude. Man, my appreciation for Kyler Phillips is well documented on the show. I did not pick him. He's not currently in the UFC's top 15, so I don't know if he's going to become a star in that promotional sense this year. I feel like in the past year or 2, he's had a lot of time off.
So much,
right? Is it all
weird
been
suspension for like a contaminated thing or something?
Oh,
but yeah, he's so good. Omar?
I didn't really have anybody for bantamweight either. Looks like some of my guys were for featherweight and lightweight. Shit like that.
Yeah, I didn't have anyone for bantamweight either because many of the guys.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so funny how you can view divisions differently.
I mean, in the top 10-ish, all those guys already are stars. And then outside of the top 10, your Ricky Simone's and your Chris Gutierrez's, I don't see them becoming huge stars. As talented as those guys are. They can keep stringing together wins and maybe break into the top 10, but I just don't see a Jonathan Martinez becoming like a big star in the sport. Nothing against him. He seems like a fucking great guy, and he's super talented, but yeah, there you have it. Okay, featherweight. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm hoping Yanez rights the ship. I picked him last year for Breakout.
Would be nice. So did I.
But yeah, I'm not going to do it again. He's got to spend this year, I think, just like getting back to even now.
Yeah. Okay. Featherweight. Omar, do you have anybody for featherweight?
I do. Ilia Topuria. I think one way or another, even if he loses that championship fight, I think his stock is going to rise so high. And I think by the end of this year, I think he's going to be one of the household names at featherweight. I think featherweight's going to be synonymous with guys like Volkanovski and Topuria. When you hear guys, pundits, and all these people talk about these divisions, and they always give a name or two, I think Topuria is going to be right at the end of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's the high level pick. I don't have anybody. I think very similar to bantamweight. So many of the guys in featherweight, because featherweight is such a stacked division with killers. So many of them are already pretty established. But in terms of that, Topuria is the one guy who, like a hot knife through butter, has cut his way up the rankings as a young guy, and he's just a killer. And he is another one who may very well have been my pick last year. But yeah, picking him again because I agree. And again, spoiler alert for the picking the champs at the end of the year, but I think we are at the precipice of the Topuria era at featherweight. Mark.
So I only got one name for featherweight. I don't know where he's going to do it or how he's going to do it or who he's going to do it against, but I'm just going to be confident that Aaron Pico finds a way to have himself a year of finally elevating into being considered a top shelf featherweight.
Okay, Aaron Pico.
I also have one more that's Diego Lopes is my other featherweight.
I thought you were going to have him.
Yeah, but he's, obviously I don't think we're going to be champion status, but I think again he's going to be one of these names that after a few good performances and with that haircut, people are going to know who Diego Lopes is.
Nice. Okay, here we go. Let's go to lightweight. Mark, would you like to go first?
Sure, really similar to how I just described Pico, just because this whole, again, Bellator PFL situation is so murky, we don't really know exactly what's going to happen with any of it, but I will say Usman and Magomedov, one way or the other, finds a way where he starts being discussed amongst the elite lightweight names, and people realize just how good he is. And then my UFC name, someone who is certainly lower down the ladder right now, but has been quietly very impressive and is 3-0 in the UFC thus far, and I think will become a name to, not a name that's like in title contention by the end of the year, but a name that's in that, like Drew Dober level territory, is Matheus Rebecki.
So the easy pick to me is Benoit Saint-Denis, who is now booked against Dustin Poirier. So this is kind of a cheap pick because it's kind of obvious that his star is blowing up. So there you have it. If you don't know, now you know.
My pick for lightweight is Elves Brenner. Elves Brenner is a motherfucker, to say the least. And I don't think people even really know who that dude is. I'm hoping with a few good matches, just like some of the other names I've said, and good exposure, I think people will know who Elves Brenner is. But that dude fights like a wild man. People should know who he is.
Okay, nice. I like it. Let's go to welterweight now. Oh my goodness. Omar, do you have anybody for welterweight?
Welterweight? I do. He is a welterweight. Yes. I have Michael Morales. Michael Morales has had a great year for 2023. I think he's going to continue with that momentum, have a great 2024. He'll probably, I would imagine, he's already in the top some shit or another, right?
He's certainly not ranked.
He's not ranked yet?
No.
Definitely. He will definitely be ranked by the end of 2024.
I'd be shocked if he was. Now you're making me look. That would be a bold ranking.
No. But I do think that he could be ranked by the end of this year, for sure. He's a really good fighter. You could see the talent that he carries with him. He just needs the experience and the exposure, but he's got it.
Totally. Mark?
So I got two guys here, one kind of from each ilk. The become a champion level guy is Shavkat, and
Yep.
the other was Michael Morales.
Oh, very nice. I thought the high level one obviously is Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I also think this might be kind of silly, but I think Ian Gary is the kind of personality that I think he has other levels of stardom to grow into that are not accessible to just anybody. And then I think also Jack Della Maddalena could string together some more incredible knockouts and add to his highlight reel to a point where he really is going to become too fucking good to ignore at 170 pounds. So
they can't all be champ.
They can't all be champ. That's right. Okay, middleweight. I will go first. Actually, I don't want to steal Mark's thunder. Mark, you go first.
Why me? I have two guys here who are on that lower level at the moment who I could see becoming much more of a name in the mix by the end of this year. Two totally different styles. That is the kickboxer Roman Kopylov and the wrestler Bo Nickel.
Hey, wow.
It's a good one.
Where do you have Bo Nickel ranked in your rankings?
Super
It's got to
low.
be like 30. It's got to be like 35, 40, something like that.
I was going to say, I think he's 40 something even. Let's see. 48.
48.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to do? He's beaten Jamie Pickett, who is my second to last middleweight, and Val Woodburn, who is my last middleweight. He's literally beaten my bottom two middleweights in the entire roster.
Yeah. And wasn't Val Woodburn like a replacement who was not even in the UFC?
Correct.
He signed like a one-day contract or one-fight contract?
Yes. Yeah.
But even still, let me ask you this. At the end of this year, this is similar to like who will be champ by the end of the year, but where will Bo Nickel be on December 31st of 2024? Will he be top 15?
I don't know if he'll be ranked because I just feel like they don't, based off the fact that they just booked him against Cody Brundage, it really seems like they don't want to rush it.
Okay.
So I feel safer saying he'll be like in that outer area, like 2025 area, than I do to say he'll be ranked, but it's possible. I guess we'll have to see how easily he dispatches of people and forces them to say, all right, we're going to move a little quicker.
Right.
I think because UFC 300 is going to be a big spot. And even though the name's not super huge, the event is, the moment is. So I think if he does well there and he performs there, I can't see that they don't give him an opportunity that gets him to a top 15 spot, especially if he can keep winning.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll take him as long as it took some others. And this kind of refers back to what I was talking about with Max Holloway, right? Where they didn't like fast track him, giving him all these opportunities. Max Holloway had to work for that shit, kind of like Leon did, and had to beat 100 fucking people before he got to where he got. Bo Nickel, though, is coming with the hype. He's coming with the talent. He's coming with all of it. And, they're cherry picking his storyline basically for how they want him to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the next fight is the one that dictates everything because you would like to think he will beat Cody Brundage. And when he does, you would imagine then he gets his, bit more established, bit more dangerous guy. And if he did like easily beat whoever that is, in the 30 range or something, if he did easily win that fight, they probably do say like, all right, fuck it, you're fighting Jack Hermanson just because his star is that bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. If he struggles a bit, then I think that's when they're like, all right, we're not going to go crazy here.
Right. Okay. Well, middleweight, I say is going to be Brendan Allen is going to break through and be a pretty big star at 185 pounds by the end of this year, at least.
My pick is Fluffy. It's
Fluffy.
The year of Fluffy. It's the year of Fluffy. It's the year of the dark horse. It's the year of the man. Nobody. I don't know where that dude went because he didn't fight like all of 2023, right?
Off the face of the earth.
Yeah. So if he comes back in 2024, I think this is going to be Fluffy's year, man. I think if minimum, if he wins, wins consistently, I think we're gonna see him in the top 5 by the end of the year.
Talk about a guy
Damn,
who
man.
just fucking leveled up in his
I
training.
don't know if he's that
or
good,
what have you.
man. I wish he was.
I don't either, but I want
Top
to
5
see
at
it,
middleweight is such a big ask.
especially
But
right
God,
now. Middleweight is
fun
a
if he was
fucking
that
murderer's
good.
row.
Yeah.
It's just every time we see him in there, he's really fucking good. And it defies all logic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Agree.
I believe in
His
him.
pace is special. Absolutely special.
His ground game is real fucking good too. He seems to have that pretty down packed.
Okay, light heavyweight. Mark?
I got a few levels here. I will go Ankalaev on the champ level. I will go Carlos Ulberg to become a true contender toward the top of the division. And then I'm going to go back to the well on a guy I was wrong about who I picked last year. I'm going to say it happens this year, and that is Tyson Pedro to become at least a ranked fighter, whereas now he is far from that mix after the Bukowski's loss.
Okay. Omar?
I think I'm gonna stick on the Khalil Roundtree thing, man. I think Khalil Roundtree is gonna have a hell of a 2024.
How do you think he can go?
It depends on the matchups, dog. I mean,
Yeah,
if he can avoid a wrestler on his way to the top, and somehow he figures out a way to get his striking matchups, man, like I put money on Khalil Roundtree in a straight up hand to hand fight without any takedowns at this point. So,
sure.
it is possible. It is
There
possible.
aren't many of those, though. He's already ranked 8th in the UFC's rankings, and ahead of him are not many pure strikers like him.
Well, Walker is not going to take him down. Nikita Krylov very well might. That might be a fucking problem. Rakic, I can't say that kid's name. Rakic?
Rakic.
Like a rock. Like a rock.
Oh, Rakic.
With an itch.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. That makes it a lot easier for me. Thank you. Rakic. I think he could do well against Rakic. I think he could do well against Blachowicz. I think he could do well against Ankalaev.
Time out.
Is it wrong too? Is that bad too?
Did you like my basketball timeout?
Mike will not ever once let you slide with how you say that.
I'm just gonna say fucking God from now on.
He hears that one, he's like, no.
I can never remember if it's Blachowicz or Blachowicz.
It's not either. Blachowicz.
It's not either. Well, there you go.
Blachowicz.
This is your blind spot. Your blind spot for names.
I agree.
Is
white people's names.
Jan Blachowicz.
Look, Eastern European names are not my strength, dog. They're just
I understand. Because he's Polish, and look, the Poles, they don't spell stuff in any kind of sensible way to an American.
No, they put fucking crosses through their letters, dog.
Here's what you need to do. You need to not look at the name and just say Blachowicz. Blachowicz. It's not that hard.
Dog, there's an L in his name that looks like a T, but it's not a T. What am I to do with this? What am I supposed to do? They got to work with me here, man.
All right, bro. Okay.
I feel you.
So you think he could do well against Blachowicz?
Butcher that man's name. Yes. All that to say, yes, he could do well against Blachowicz. I think Ankalaev could present a problem, although we have seen Ankalaev just straight up kickbox for rounds on end. So very possible that he decides to dick measure with Roundtree in a terrible
Yuri's
decision. Yuri very well might not take him down. Jamal Hill's not going to take him down. Alex Pereira ain't taking him down. So I feel like I said a lot of people aren't taking him down from this point on. So we can have a good year for Roundtree.
It's true. Because there's not many other people to pick, I'm picking Johnny Walker to be the breakout star this year. I love him with John Kavanaugh.
Does that mean you're picking him in a few minutes here when we preview this fight?
Yeah, I think he's poised to have a good year, a big year. Even though he did lose a couple more fights after he joined up with Kavanaugh, it seems like
going.
Yeah, it seems like under
While
Kavanaugh,
he was being molded.
Yeah, he's new and improved. He's more patient, and I'll go with Johnny Walker to really have a fucking great year and breakthrough.
I don't even know if I like the new Johnny Walker. I feel like this is when.
Well, what's not to like?
This is when, like, he's just not, to me, he just hasn't really been as exciting anymore.
Well,
it
sure.
reminds me of when they tried to mold Clay Guida at Jackson Wink, and they like made him this weird bouncy. Or was it BJ Penn? Somebody fucked with somebody's game at one point, and they looked terrible doing it, and just very, very weird. And I feel like that's Johnny Walker now. It's like he's definitely more reserved. He's more, patient. But at the same time, part of what made Johnny Walker was his button mashness. Like it was the fact that he was a little crazy. And if we can find somewhere some middle ground, I think it would make sense. But if we're just going to be reserved the whole time, then it's also totally pointless.
Totally.
I mean, he beat the shit out of Anthony Smith. To your point, he probably could have finished him, and he didn't.
Yeah.
He brought the pain.
I mean, Anthony Smith has not been doing great as of late for that to like hold a ton of water, but I understand your point. Like Ryan Spann is making me look fucking terrible because I keep picking Ryan Spann, and it's like the only dude that loses to Anthony Smith now. So I don't know.
Okay, heavyweight. Let's bring this one home, and then we're going to talk about champs at the end of the year. Mark?
I have one name, and it may seem like it doesn't make sense to pick someone who is already the interim champion to be a breakout star, but I predict that Tom Aspinall is going to finish John Jones in the year of 2024, and that he will be one of the
he said it.
2 or 3 biggest names in the entire sport of MMA by the time the year is done.
You just said that.
Yes.
You just said that.
I've been saying it.
You just said that Tom Aspinall is going to finish John Jones.
That's correct.
Folks out there listening or watching who might be coming to the sport, John Jones has never been finished in 45 years. 45 years of fighting. John Jones has never lost a fight, let alone been finished.
And for those of you who are new and who may not know the history of John Jones, and you go on your wikis and you go, wait a minute, they're fucking wrong. John Jones did lose. No, he didn't. He beat the shit out of Matt Hamill.
Watch the fight.
And he was being refereed by the worst referee in history, one Steve Mazzagatti. And long story short, Steve Mazzagatti fucked that whole fight up, called an illegal DQ when he should have called the fight minutes before that anyway, and caused John Jones to have a loss on his record when he clearly won that fight. So
clearly, man.
Yes.
I don't even like thinking about that because it's just upsetting. It really is.
It's upsetting that it's 2024 and we still haven't figured out that fight should be overturned. Like, make it a no contest at this point. Just seems dumb.
Yeah, that would be nice, but probably not going to happen at this point. Anyway, wow, Mark with the bold.
I will eat my words if I'm wrong, but that has been the train I have been on for a couple of years now, that he was the man who was going to beat John, and I am not getting off until I see them in a cage.
Okay. My name is somewhat similar. He's kind of right behind. I think he's kind of right behind Tom Aspinall, and that is Jonathan Almeida. I think he goes up into the upper echelon of heavyweight and takes his spot, whatever that spot may be. It might not be champ, but I think he ascends into like top 3 territory easily this year. I don't think he has hit his wall yet, and I think he's gonna. If he does, he'll hit it up there. Omar?
Yeah, I think I'm on the Jonathan Almeida track. I just think that he's got such good momentum. He's got such talent that of the few people that I think that could cause problems to people in the heavyweight division, Jonathan Almeida, I think, has probably the most diverse skill set and probably some of the strongest grappling that we've seen there, like in a long time. Probably since what? Maybe Verdum, perhaps?
I don't know about diverse skill set. Like, I would say Aspinall's skill set is more diverse than Almeida's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I think Almeida definitely relies on his ground game more than he does on his striking.
True.
But I think that he can do it all. I just think that he doesn't. If he can get, I think kind of like Khabib. Well, no, because Khabib's hands aren't great. But I think Almeida finds less issue taking things down to the ground, working from the ground, finding submissions. I think it's this path to least resistance, and so that's where he goes. But I think if he was made to strike, I think he would still do very well against a lot of these guys in the top. So I think Almeida's going to have a great year.
I don't hate the Khabib comparison for him. I think he is Habibi.
Yeah.
Habibish.
Habibi. Okay, I think that's it, right?
Shall we pick some champions?
Let us. Okay. Let's start. Let's go round robin. No, Snake.
Yeah.
Let's start where we're at heavyweight.
These sound for y'all.
Fucking Snake.
Let's do it. Who's starting? I might as well start since
You
I
might
already
as well
told
start,
you what's
dude,
going to
yeah.
happen. So yeah, my heavyweight champion at the close of 2024 is Tom Aspinall.
Omar.
My heavyweight champion is also Tom Aspinall. And it is Tom Aspinall because I don't believe that John Jones is going to be sticking around past 2024. So
I somewhat agree with Omar more than Mark. I think Tom Aspinall will be, instead of the interim, I think he will be the heavyweight champ. But I don't know if he fights John Jones or Stipe this year. I mean, at this point, John Jones just tore his pec. Stipe seems to only want to fight John. It seems like there's a lot of things that could happen in that regard. So John or no John, Stipe or no Stipe, I will go with Tom Aspinall to be the champ on December 31st. Okay, light heavy. Omar.
light heavy is
Snake
Jamal.
means you go.
I knew no one fucking knew what snake meant.
I know what
Pissed it in
snake
the wind
means.
here. I didn't know what snake meant. But here we go. I'm going. Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is my light heavyweight champ for the end of 2024. Yep.
I'm going with Ferreira. I think he's going to hold on to that belt. I think he's going to be, a 2-division champ at some point, but I think he's going to stay light heavyweight champ. Mark?
Yeah, this was not an easy one, but I am going to say that the stars align and that Ankalaev gets a title shot against either Pereira or Hill, and I'm going to say he finally leans on the wrestling and that he does it.
Nice. Okay, middleweight. This one is kind of tricky. Middleweight is so up in the air to me, but I'm going to go with Brendan Allen. I think he wins the fights that he needs to win, and that he gets it done because, hey, listen. Okay, hold on. I wrote down my thoughts for this.
I'm not hating. I'm enjoying.
Look, as we record this, Brendan Allen is currently ranked 8th in the middleweight division, and he is scheduled right now. He's scheduled to fight the number 5 ranked Marvin Vettori.
Yes, he is.
This spring. So Brendan Allen will be riding a 6-fight win streak going into his fight with Vettori, submitting 5 of those 6. And by the way, while I'm on the subject, this might be a good time to remind you all that out of his 23 career wins, 14 of them have come by way of submission. And more importantly, the way that he's been winning lately, so impressively and so nonchalantly, I believe that if he gets past Vettori in April, fight another top 5 guy in the summer, maybe, I can absolutely see Brendan Allen fighting for a title before the end of the year. Look, credit to Mark for being on the Brendan Allen train sooner than me, but I have come around and I am a believer now.
You've
I
kicked
purchased
me
my ticket.
out the caboose, and
I was gonna
taken
say,
over.
bro, he not only took you out, bro, he started to drive the fucking train himself.
Okay, look, here's my final bit. In a middleweight division that is no longer in the dominant Adesanya era, and also without the big bad wolf of Alex Pereira being there just seems to be a lot up in the air right now. And look, we're not predicting who's going to be champ next or who will be champ in June, but who will be champ on New Year's Eve, December 31st. And I think Brendan Allen, being right now in January, ranked 8th, might be poised for a huge run in 2024. So I'm going all in with Brendan Allen to be holding the belt by the year's end.
I love it. I enjoyed every second of that.
Thank you.
I think there's just too much resistance, because how many fights is he going to fight in 2024? Like, ideally, everybody fights 4 times a year. Realistically, that's probably not going to happen, right? You might get 2 out of him this year, 3 maybe at the most. I just think there's too much. There's too much resistance in middleweight.
But dude, as I just laid it out. If he beats Vettori, he's ranked 5th right now. And let's say he beats Vettori, and then let's say he fights Whitaker and beats Whitaker. Then they'll be like, hey, he could. And by December, in December, he gets the next shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's impossible. It's just those bookings and shit get so messy that I feel like if we're doing within the year, I see it happening maybe the beginning of 2025 or something like that. But I don't know. When is the Vettori fight?
Who are you taking, bud?
Do you know when this Vettori fight is?
April something? It's in April. It's April 15th or something.
Yeah. And then you would also have to imagine that he doesn't get hurt. You know what I mean? But
well, of course.
Yeah. I have Chimaev, man. I think Chimaev has been on such a roll lately that I think that from a scheduling standpoint, I think he gets a title shot over a lot of these guys. And it's not to say that I don't think Brendan Allen beats him at some point, because that is wholly possible.
I'd love that fight.
I just think that Chimaev is going to get the shot earlier, and I think he's just going to hold on. I think he'll have the belt by the year's end. But yeah, I'm going to go Chimaev.
Mark?
If I had to bet on any division, this would be the last one that I bet on. I have zero confidence. I just feel like between Strickland and Dricus and Izzy and Chimaev, and then throw in wild cards like Allen, like none of these dudes beating any of these dudes would surprise me. So I really don't know. I don't even know who I like necessarily to win this Strickland-Dricus fight yet. I've kind of been debating it in my head, so I can't even get my timeline started on how I predict this year will go. Somehow or another, I have written down Sean Strickland. And
how the fuck?
I think it's solely because I think if anyone matches up well with what Dricus brings and what Chimaev brings, it's kind of Strickland, because he can withstand that early 10-minute push. And Dricus has more than that, as he's shown, but the hardest time with Dricus is still the early going. And Sean is kind of built to withstand that and then put it on dudes as the fight goes on. So I don't know. I don't like the pick, but I don't like any name I would have picked. So I will throw a dart and I will go with Sean Strickland.
Okay. Wow. That's so interesting. He does have such an interesting style.
It is the durability in the first round, though, was valid. I mean, short of Alex Pereira landing his fucking bomb, there is some validity there. Because, now that I think about it, thinking about Hamzat and how he approaches things, he's constantly trying to barrel bash somebody through the first round, picking them up, throwing them down to the ground, trying to manhandle dudes. And it looks terrifying, but he doesn't do that for 3 rounds, because who the fuck can, right? And I think there's a reality there where after a round and a half or 2 rounds of Hamzat putting 100% out and has nothing for the 3rd round, it's very possible Sean Strickland still has 80% of his gas tank left and just runs through him for the 3rd round.
And he's a good grappler. which he elects not to show, but he is.
Yeah. Not only elects not to show, don't downplay it. Completely obliterates BJJ
Yes.
on like a social level.
Yes.
Wear shirts that says I roll, I'm gay or something like he is gone, that dude. Gone.
Yes. But he's good.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
he is. For all the shit he talks, he's actually really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
All right, let's keep moving.
Keep it moving. Okay.
See, a true snake draft means now I would go again. That is a snake draft.
I just applied it to the divisions.
Oh, is this a sports thing? Are you guys doing sports? Is that what this is? This is sports.
Welterweight, I'm going, since no one's talking. I am taking Shavkat Rakhmonov. I am doing it. I think Leon is going to beat Bilal. I think Shavkat's going to beat whoever he has to beat if he has to take another fight. And I think we're going to get Leon and Shavkat. I am 50-50 on who I think wins that fight. And whoever wins it, I think ends the year as the champion. So I'm really torn, but gun to my head, I'm going to say Shavkat right now.
I mean, Shavkat is the undeniable pick. It has to be him. It just has to be. As much as I like Bilal, and now Bilal is a coworker of mine at APFC. Pains me to say it, but Shavkat is just undeniable. So I'll say by the end of the year, Shavkat wears the belt. Omar?
I wonder if this is the only division where we're going to be unanimous. But we are unanimous. Shavkat.
We all said Aspinall too. So
did we all say Aspinall? I didn't remember. Somebody said Jones. Yeah. Shavkat, I think, is really on that track there. I can't see somebody in welterweight really doing something to him at this current point in time. It's possible somebody might, show a little vulnerability in him the way that Makhachev did to Volkanovski. But until that happens, Shavkat is where I'm sticking.
Totally. Okay, lightweight. Omar, go first.
I have Islam Makhachev, and for one reason. I think he fights once this year. I think it's by the end of the year, and I think he wins and doesn't fight fucking again. So, yes, I think he bogarts the lightweight championship for the year of 2024.
It is absolutely painful.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. But it's annoying though. It's annoying because they make everybody else seemingly get to work, right? Everybody else has got to be in a fucking rush to goddamn get this belt moving and stuff. Look at light heavyweight. Jamal Hill's supposed to be out for less than a year. Fuck him. The belt gone in a month. Yuri out for like 6-7 months, whatever it was. Fuck him. Take his belt too. Islam's like, I'm not fighting until October of 2024. It's fucking November of 2023. He's saying this, and we're like, yeah, dope. Can't wait.
I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Anyone on Team Habib has different rules when it comes to Uncle Dana. Anyone else, they're like, oh, I shattered my ACL. And he's like, well, either you fight or we'll take your house. And these guys are like, well, I really would like to take 8 months because that is Father's plan and God's will. And he's like, oh, well, can't argue with that.
It's the only thing that even remotely makes sense is the paydays that come along with it, right? Like, I think that it's got to be the draw that he has for the Russian audience, the Middle Eastern audience, and that's a shit ton of people from that side of the world. So I got to imagine that by keeping him in those positions, the pay-per-view points and all that stuff kind of come along with it. It's the only thing that makes sense to me because
I don't know.
The way they treat everybody else in that company when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially the champions, Islam's the only one that's like, and John, Islam and John are like, take time. You're good. No worries.
It's a lot of leniency.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sucks because lightweight is not the division to be pulling that shit with. Everybody there is also, that's also a murderer's row of people, and everybody there is vying for a shot. And to have this like on hold is just odd to me. Very odd.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go next for my lightweight pick for who will be champ at the end of the year. A very similar line of logic that I'm following that I did for Brendan Allen at middleweight. Now, maybe this is recency bias, but since his fight with Dustin Poirier has just been announced for UFC 299. And maybe this is tipping my hand for who I'll be picking in that fight, but maybe the most appropriate nickname in the sport. The God of War, Benoit Saint-Denis, has emerged as a force tearing through the UFC lightweight division. So since dropping a decision loss in his UFC debut against the fellow scrapper, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos in 2021, Saint-Denis now on a 5-fight win streak, finishing all 5 of those opponents. Oh, wait. Every single one of his professional victories have been wins by finish. Saint-Denis is currently ranked 12th in the UFC. Now, here's my logic, same that I kind of applied for Brendan Allen. Currently in January, ranked 12th in the UFC. Now, he's just been booked against Dustin Poirier, who's ranked 3rd. I mean, the last time we saw this kind of a catapult up the rankings, like it makes me think of like Conor going from Dennis Seaver to like fighting for the belt. He did
close enough, but yes, no, but I see where you're going with it. Yes,
thank you. So a win over Poirier, I don't think it would grant him a title shot in his very next outing, but I think that would obviously catapult Benoit Saint-Denis into the title conversation. And by the end of the year, I believe that he will be wearing UFC gold.
Wow.
I would imagine it's very similar. It sounds a lot more similar to Hamza when he fought Gilbert Burns out of left field kind of deal, right? Like when he just sort of shot up to fighting the number 2 guy ranked in welterweight.
Yeah, but he had about 750 times more hype than Benoit Saint-Denis at that point in time.
Yes, that is
the next thing in MMA.
Yeah.
Mike, I give you credit. That was bold. I thought you were going bold with Brendan Allen.
Yeah. Saint-Denis is a bold pick for champion.
Yeah, I picked Islam here. I picked Islam here last year, and I got it right. I'm going to choose to have a little more fun this year, and I'm going to go with my boy, Charles Oliveira, and say he comes back and gets
the champion has a name.
Yes. Why not?
Why not?
I feel like Islam is just going to pick October because he thinks that at some point Charles is going to injure himself again between then and then.
He might not even beat Armin. The Armin matchup is so fucking hard.
Yeah. Armin is a beast, man. Armin might ruin a lot of people's dreams in that division.
It's true. It's true. Okay. Featherweight. Omar, would you like to go first?
I would. I believe the boy Arnold Allen might just get it done.
Wow.
I think he had. Here's the thing. I think there are always going to be fights in elite fighters' resumes that change them either for the better or for the worse. And I think the fight that Arnold Allen had with Max Holloway. Sorry, let me just try to bring this shit up real quick. The fight that he had with Max Holloway, I think, is one of those fights that is going to make him better. I think I can't imagine he hasn't watched that fight back more than once at this point. And I think there's just so many little things. I don't think that he needs to change much in order to get to that level. But I think there's a moment when you're fighting somebody at that level, when you fought somebody at that championship caliber, when you fought somebody like a Max Holloway, that you either accept that you're not that good and that you're not going to get that good. And then that's where you're at. Or you see how well you did against somebody like him who was supposed to win, right? Max Holloway was supposed to beat a guy like a Brendan Allen. And I think you make the adjustments from there. And I think Brendan Allen is one of those kids that doesn't seem like Arnold Allen. I'm sorry. Doesn't seem like one of those kids that shies away from the hard work, from the challenge. And I think the opportunities should come to him this year. And I think that Arnold Allen is a very possible contender here for the belt by the end of 2024.
Wow. That's not who I thought you were going to say.
Me neither.
I thought you were going to make the obvious pick. I thought you were going to make the obvious pick like me and say Ilia Topuria. It's going to be the champ by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Mark?
So to me, it's one or the other. It's just whoever I'm going to pick in that fight. And similar to, I forget who I was talking about earlier, I'm still very undecided on who I'm going to pick in that fight, but I think I'm going to choose to not move off of Volk just because he got beat on late notice by Islam. So I will stick with Alexander Volkanovski.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, bantamweight. I will go first for bantamweight. So when a champ or a recent champ vacates the division, it always seems to leave a sense of like ungroundedness and maybe even a opportunity in the air. So even though there is a champ, he only has just sat down on the throne, and the crown might not be that snug on his head yet. Now, I feel like Merab Dvalishvili might be the right pick because he's already ranked third in the bantamweight rankings. And now that Merab's teammate Aljamain Sterling is no longer there, Merab no longer has to sort of like drive with the electronic governor. And again, he's already ranked third. And they just can't deny him anymore. But this is a field pick for me. And I'm going with Corey, the Sandman Sandhagen, to be standing there with the belt around his waist at the end of the year. Sandhagen and O'Malley haven't fought each other yet, by the way. And that Striker's Delight is one that the UFC, I think, would love to have title implications to go along with it. So as I alluded to before, a lot is going to have to happen by December 31st for O'Malley. It starts with getting past Chito Vera, a guy who's already beaten him, sort of. O'Malley might not beat Chito and then get wrestled into dust by Merab, or Chito might beat O'Malley and then Merab might wrestle him into dust. But Sandhagen will be there. And I think by the end of the year, I think his talent will be undeniable and he will get another shot this year at the belt. And this time, I think he will Art of War his way to UFC Gold. Mark.
Interesting.
Omar.
Wait, who are you saying?
We got the same pick there, bud. We're good.
Oh, I like the Sandhagen pick. I considered the Sandhagen pick. I went Merab. He's just been so dominant. You can't deny the guy forever, even if he's not O'Malley's next opponent after Chito, assuming O'Malley even beats Chito. I don't think we get through the year without Merab getting his title shot. And when he does, I think he takes it and holds it.
Okay.
Yep. Merab is also mine as well. I think his style doesn't play very well to a lot of people. I think a lot of people have trouble figuring out Merab and how to handle him and how to deal with him. I think the gas tank on Merab presents an infinite amount of problems. And I think now that Aljo's out of the way, I just think it's probably going to be Merab's time. And it's not to say he can't be beat. You know, it's definitely possible. But yeah, I think it's Merab time, man. I think it's his moment.
See, here's the thing. I'm not saying that Merab won't be champion. I think Merab very, very well could be champion this year. But I think by the end of the year, I think it could be Sandhagen.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what's interesting about this kind of game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
To do this in January, to think 12 months ahead.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. What's next? Flyweight. Okay. I just wrote Pantoja. Yep. Because he's just so good. And I just don't see anybody else beating him right now.
I'm with you, man. And there's some tough fights. Like if he has to fight Moreno again, obviously that's a tough fight, even though he's had a lot of success against him. Albazi could be tough. Kape could be tough. If Makayev breaks through, it could be tough. I mean, there are no easy matchups for this man. But if I got to pick one guy, I think I trust him more than the rest of that pack.
He's so talented. Omar?
You already know I'm too emotional for this shit, so I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno. It's my man's. It's my boy. Albazi was my pick from Monaghan, but I'm going to be sticking with Brandon Moreno.
Very well. very well.
I don't have a good explanation for it. It's my man's. That's where we're going.
Okay. Let's go down now to the ladies' side. Let's do women's bantamweight. Mark?
Valentina Shevchenko. I don't love any of these contenders at bantamweight. Don't get me wrong. I am fans of, like, I love Raquel. I'll be super happy if Raquel gets herself a title. Would be a hell of a finish to her career here, where she has just maintained herself as a top 5 fighter for seemingly ever. But I don't think any of them are dominant. Like her, Bueno Silva, Aldana, Holm, Tate. There's rumors of Durand May coming back. I guess she's in that mix. Who'd I skip over? Vieira. None of them do it for me. So I don't know how this would occur. I don't know if maybe it ends up being a spring 2025 thing by the time Valentina actually went back up there, if she is going to rematch Grasso, and God knows what happens this time. But if I gotta pick a name that I actually feel good about, that person is good enough to be the champion, I'm going to just say it's Valentina.
Wow. Omar?
Yeah, honestly, that pick is better than mine. I didn't even really consider the Valentina pick. I kind of want to steal that now. Honestly, man, I kind of have the same kind of thoughts as Mark. I picked Juliana Pena just because I thought Pena would eventually come back.
I was just skipping someone.
Yeah, I figured Pena eventually would come back before the end of the year, and I do think that Pena is probably going to hold the belt. I don't think any of these women are like Mark said, particularly dominant in that sense. I think Mayra Bueno Silva is probably going to be one of the more tougher fights for Pena, but I still think it's a totally winnable fight. So I did have Pena as my pick, but I really like that Valentina pick. I might just double down on that one. It's a good one.
What's the official? You got to make a call.
I'll go with Valentina because I already talked about that cross fight and her coming up to fight Juliana again for the second time. So
you did,
yeah,
you did.
I'll go with that.
Michael, are we going to be unanimous for the curveball bantamweight champ?
No, I also chose Juliana. I too did not think about the potential Valentina move up, and I thought that without Amanda there, Juliana is going to reach up and grab that belt again and not let go this time for a minute. So I had Juliana being champ by the end of the year. Nice. And I'm excited for her. Okay. Women's flyweight. Omar.
My flyweight is Erin Blanchfield. I think it's going to be the year. I think we finally got there. I think she's proven herself. I think we know that she's definitely elite in that division at this point. But I think she gets the opportunity, and I think she runs with it.
Okay, Mark.
You go first.
I'm going with Manon Fior.
What?
As much
there we
as
go.
You are not going with Erin Blanchfield? That's why I had you go first. Because I was like, you guys finished talking about Blanchfield before I go.
I think that Blanchfield can be champ this year, but I think that Fior will be champ by the end of the year.
Wow.
Are you Fior, Mike or Mark?
No. I'm Valentina Shevchenko.
What the fuck is going on?
I figure I'll get one right. and maybe I can get two. Look, if she fights Grasso at like UFC 300, right? Say she wins, and I would pick her, even though she's 1-1, I guess, technically speaking. Then she's flyweight champ again, right? Then say in August she has to fight the winner of Blanchfield and Fior. If she wins that, that's when she may say, all right, I'm going up and I'm challenging Juliana Pena in December. And then she could be double champ by year's end. So I don't think it's unrealistic It's a lot to ask, but I'm going to say at least I get one of these right.
Mark playing the odds here. Nice. I like it. Okay. What do we have left here?
Strawweight.
Last one, right? Women's strawweight.
Oh, I still didn't choose it. I have 2 names written with a fucking slash. Someone else go.
Am I going first?
Yes,
first.
please.
Tatiana Suarez is my pick. I've been high on Suarez for a minute. I'm going to be high on Suarez for a while. And that's where I'm at, man. I think her skill set is really good, and she hasn't given me any reason to doubt that she can do it. So, Tatiana Suarez.
I'm with you, dude. I'm super tempted to. I feel like we might all be foolish because Zhang Weili is that good. But
dude, that's the debate I'm having.
She's fucking good, man. She is.
She's so good. She's just so good. But you know what? So was fucking Tatiana Suarez, and this is her fucking year. Let's go.
It's only 1 inch of height for Suarez. Is that right?
I always
It
think of
seems
Suarez
like there's
as being
more.
like 5'9".
That's why I just
she's
looked it
like
up.
5'5". I know she's not that tall, but she does
It is
seem
strawweight.
so much taller.
Yeah, dude, it's only 1 inch difference. Weili's 5'4", Suarez is 5'5". I was literally going to use that as my like X factor. I was like, all right, if she's like 3-4 inches taller, I'm just going to go over there. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I came in this with every intent to pick Suarez, and then I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, God, Weili is so fucking good. Like, am I sure Suarez beats her? Like,
The thing
I
that
don't know
concerns about Weili is Weili has gotten better, like significantly
for
better.
sure. Yeah.
And so who's to say she won't get even better by next time? You know, it's hard to gauge where her ceiling is at this point.
And what if Suarez can't hold her down? Then, like, yeah, them hands are probably not going to go so well for Suarez.
Yeah. I mean, if she's got with Patchy Mix as a training partner, I gotta imagine that her submission game has got to be top notch. You know what I mean? She's not Patchy Mix, but you roll enough with guys like that and expose yourself to ground games like that, you pick it up, especially if you're already good at it. You know.
I'm going to go Suarez. I've been on this Suarez will be the champ stance long enough. I guess let me not hop off when it's actually on the verge of happening, because then I'll be pissed. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Weili did beat her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, boys. We didn't do a good job managing our time because we are 2 hours in and we still have to preview a card. Thankfully, we're only previewing 5 fights.
Let's jump into it. So this weekend we have.
Oh wait, we have the Sphere. Omar, do you have Sphere things or no?
Do you have Sphere things?
I have fight announcements. I don't have any news.
All right,
so I will
fart 'em out.
actually get through these pretty quickly. We have starting off. We have AJ Dobson versus Trayshawn Gore. That fight's been added to UFC's 298 card on February 17th. Jesus Aguilar versus Matheus Mendonce. That has been added to UFC Mexico on February 24th. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Tercios has been added to UFC Mexico as well.
I like that.
That fight is going to hurt my soul. I don't think Tercios wins that fight, which I just want good things for that dude, but like I think we all know he's not like the best.
It seems like he's not a great matchup for Rosas.
Yeah. My girl Yasmin Hardagui is back in the mix against Sam Hughes. That fight again has been added to UFC Mexico, and co-headlining UFC Mexico, we alluded to Yaya Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega 2. It's been a minute since I have done one of these, so if you're hearing fights that have happened or were announced a couple weeks ago, that is why. Michel Pereira versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk has been added to UFC's 299 card on March 9th. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis will be co-headlining UFC 299. Davey Grant versus Cody Gibson added to UFC's Vegas card on March 23rd. Ricardo Ramos versus Julian Erosa also added to the March 23rd card.
That's a good fight too.
Andre Petrosky versus Jacob Malkoun added to UFC's Atlantic City card on March 30th. Bruno Silva versus Chris Weidman has been sadly added to UFC Atlantic City on March 30th. And Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Oldberg rebooked for UFC Atlantic City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just a lot of fights here that are making me sad. It's fine though. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen, as we alluded to earlier, will be headlining the UFC Vegas card on April 6th. Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling has officially been added to UFC's 300 card on April 13th. And the last fight we have on the list here is the champ has a name. His name is Mark
Charles Oliveira.
He will be fighting Arman Tsarukyan on UFC 300, April 13th. That is all we have for you this week.
All right.
Nice.
Well, this weekend has an event, and the event has a name, and the name is UFC Fight Night. Ankalaev versus Walker 2.
We're back,
Not
boys.
going. What's that?
We're back. We've
That's
made
right,
it through
baby.
the wilderness.
Yeah, I feel like we were gone for like 2 months.
Dude, it felt forever.
Excuse me. So the rematch is happening. Ankalaev versus Walker 2. They are running it back, and they are running it back right away. And this time it ain't in the desert in Abu Dhabi. It is going down at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. And we have a very nice main card to be previewing for you folks. 5 fights on the main card. Before we get to any of these 5, are there any fights or fighters on the prelims that you guys want to quickly just spotlight and say like, hey, make sure, folks, this person's fighting or this fight is happening. This is one that you want to watch.
I mean, the card's
I'll give you one
good,
for
to be
sure.
honest.
What'd you say?
I said the card's pretty good, for being honest. There's some decent names all over this card.
Yeah, it is pretty good. My standout undercard fight is absolutely Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapalus. They are both super talented guys. They can do pretty much anything you want them to do in there. I kind of wish that was not the matchup because I'd like to see them both working their way up. And it's unfortunate that one of them has to take a loss already at this point, where I think they both have the talent to be a lot higher up in this division than they are looked at the moment. But either way, that's going to be an awesome fight. Definitely a coin toss type of fight, in my opinion.
For sure.
There are some good names on this fight, on this card. You've got guys like Andrei Arlovsky, who is headlining the prelims, it looks like, against Waldo Cortez Acosta. Why do I feel like they fought already? Did they not fight?
No, they haven't fought.
Just another big dude. I could have swore they fought. Matthew Semmelsberger is on this card. He's be fighting Preston Parsons. Marcus McGee has been having some really good success in the octagon as of late. He's going to be fighting Gaston Bolanos. Nicholas Moda's on this card against Tom Nolan, excuse me. There's some good fights on this card here. Definitely worth checking out. The main card's pretty solid, though, I got to say. Much more so than the prelims, but yeah, it's a good card.
Okay, let us begin with the fight that is opening the main card. UFC Fight Night Ankalaev versus Walker 2. Going down in the middleweight division, Phil No Hype Hawes taking on Brunno the Hulk Ferreira. So Phil Hawes, the 35-year-old out of New Jersey, USA, 12-5 as a pro with 8 knockouts. And he's looking very much to get back into the win column after back-to-back knockout losses at the hands of Roman Dolidze and Ikram Aliskerov. He'll be taking on another knockout artist, though, in Brunno Ferreira, the Hulk. And for a good reason, he has this nickname. He is the 31-year-old out of Curitiba, Brazil, 10-1 as a pro. All 10 of his wins, finishes, 7 of them knockouts. He just suffered his first knockout loss, his first loss, back in July of 2023 against Ruziboev. Am I saying that name wrong?
No, you're right.
Thank you. So these two guys, both heavy hitters, squaring off in the middleweight division, opening the main card of this Fight Night card. Mark, tell us who you think is going to win and how it's going to go down.
So really tight odds to open up this main card. Phil Hawes is even money, plus 100. Bruno Ferreira is a slight favorite at -125. There are 2 inches of height and 5.5 inches of reach on the Phil Hawes side of the equation. So that's quite a bit. I'm going to take Phil Hawes. I still think he's a quality middleweight. I think he's a better overall fighter than Bruno Ferreira is. I know that things haven't been going great for Phil Hawes. I know the chin has looked pretty suspect. I know Ferreira is the Hulk and he fucking swings big leather at people. So I get it. And I'm sure that's why the odds are what they are, even though Phil Hawes has the much more proven resume of the two. But I think he's better everywhere. He is the cleaner striker for certain. He's quicker. He carries power himself. He's a top shelf wrestler. He can take it there. You know, it's a dangerous fight because, as I said, Ferreira's going to be swinging those hammers. But I would just like to believe that Hawes can avoid the big bomb one time and that the same thing is not going to just keep playing out every single fight. So he needs the win. I'm going to say he can fight smart and get it, mix it up, out wrestle Ferreira, you know, look okay on the feet, rely on that reach to keep some space, and maybe even finish this thing on the ground. I'm actually going to say he does that. I will say Phil Hawes, round 3, TKO.
Okay, Omar?
I don't trust Phil Hawes' fucking chin as far as I could throw Phil Hawes, man.
I can't quit this man. I don't
can't.
know why.
Yeah. I'm not about it, man. He has been slept like once a year for like the last 2 or 3 years at this point. Can't do it.
It's true. It's true.
Especially with a guy who looks like if he like flicked you on your fucking jaw, he would knock you out. I can't do it. So I think this is going to be a violent fight from the jump. I can't see these guys having any kind of feeling out process. And the other part of it is I don't trust Phil Hawes to actually use that length with any kind of like intelligence. I don't see him establishing range with his jab. I don't see him establishing range with his legs. I see the distance getting crashed into very easily by somebody like Bruno Ferreira. I don't think Ferreira is going to want to play on the outside for very long. And I think he knows he needs one good shot, and all he needs to do is just shut off Phil Hawes' body, which can be done. So I'm going to go with Ferreira, man, and I think he knocks him out in 1.
For all the same reasons, I too am going with the Hulk here. I'll just bullet point them because Omar already fleshed them out pretty much. At this point, I'm not trusting Phil Hawes' chin. Omar's right. He was knocked out in 21. He was knocked out in 22. And he was knocked out in 23. 3 of his last four outings have ended with him face down on the canvas, unfortunately. As talented as he is, this is not the best matchup for him at middleweight. Yeah. And Ferreira seems like the kind of middleweight who can and will be willing to exchange and maybe take one and give one. And I think he might take one from Phil Hawes. This might be the kind of fight where Phil Hawes nearly gets Ferreira out of there. But then Ferreira kind of survives and lands his own monster shot and Phil Hawes goes out.
Which fight was it where he was looking incredible? Was it the Chris Curtis fight?
I believe so.
Where he was like piecing Chris Curtis up all fight and then he just got one hitter quitted? I think it was.
Yeah. Well,
dude, the way his body just says no, like Phil Hawes' just whole body just shuts off is crazy to me. Like he's never, I don't think we've ever seen Phil Hawes like turtle up or like get backed into a corner, get beat on a little bit. You know, like Phil Hawes either is fucking asleep or he's fighting. It's like one or the other. He's never really in a shelled up defensive position.
And it's all partly because of the division that he's in. I mean, these are middleweights. These are big guys, and they all carry big power.
Except
here we go. Simone versus Bautista. So Ricky Simone taking on Mario Bautista. Ricky Simone, a little bit of a fan favorite, the 31-year-old out of Vancouver, Washington, USA, 20-4 as a professional fighter. Out of his 20 wins, 10 have come by finish. 6 of those are knockouts. After a 5-fight win streak, it was snapped by Song Yidong back in April of 2023. So nearly a year for Ricky Simón coming back into the octagon here, taking on Mario Bautista, 30 years old, out of Phoenix, Arizona, 13-2 as a pro, with 6 submission victories, riding a 5-fight win streak coming into this weekend. Omar, tell us who's going to win and how they're going to do it.
This is actually a hell of a fight right here. From a
great fight.
From a stylistic matchup, this is probably going to be one of the more high energy, high paced fights that we're going to have this whole night. And I think the thing that makes this fight really difficult to choose is both of these guys fight very similarly to one another. And I think it's really going to be a matter of who gets there first, I guess, in terms of the opportunities on the ground, because I do think this fight ends up on the ground. And I think these guys are going to be vying for position, vying for that submission attempt. And I just think Ricky Simón's a little bit more scrambly. I think he's even with his scrambles, I think he's still very precise. I think a lot of guys can sometimes be too wild in their scrambles without kind of having a plan as to what they want to do or where they want to go. Sometimes they get scrambly and just wherever they fall is where they fall and they work from there. I think Ricky Simón is just a little bit more planned out than that, even in his wildness. And I think he's going to be able to use that and impose his will a little bit on the ground. I don't know if either one of these guys are going to be able to finish each other, to be honest. I think both of them, like I said, are pretty durable and pretty similar in how they fight. So I think it's going to go a decision, but I think it's going to be a wild fucking fight. And I'm going to go Ricky Simón by unanimous decision.
I'm with you, dude. I'm a big Ricky Simón fan, and I think this is a tough fight. I think the odds are going to be fairly close.
Yeah.
Mark. And we'll see about that in just a second. But yeah, these are two strong bantamweights, man. And I don't know. I mean, I think anybody could get knocked out in this fight. They both hit hard. And I think that Ricky Simón is going to hand Mario Bautista a rare knockout loss in his career. Give me Ricky Simón by TKO in the second round. Mark?
Interesting.
Yes, it is another one with pretty close odds, a little wider than our first one. Simón is favored at minus 165. Bautista is a plus 135 underdog. Bautista is 3 inches taller than Simón, but Simón actually has a 1-inch reach advantage. And yeah, I mean, you guys kind of alluded to it. It's a little bit of a mirror fight in some ways here, but I can't shake the idea that Mario Bautista is kind of like the bit lesser version of Ricky Simón. I'm just not sure where he can expose Simón necessarily. I mean, maybe he could catch him in the grappling, or lean on the leg kicks, but I just think the fight mostly favors Simón. I think he's faster. He has quicker hands for sure. He has the more natural power, the cleaner boxer, and I do think he'll be the better wrestler when this hits the mat. So he may have to deal with some tricky setups and things like that from Bautista on the mat. But I'm going to go with Ricky Simón to bounce back here and get himself a solid win. I'll say it's 29-28 UD for Ricky Simón.
Nice. We are unanimous in taking Ricky Simón. Okay, we go down now to flyweight. Manel, Kape taking on Matheus, Nicolau.
No, you skipped the fight, Mike.
What the fuck? What fight did I skip?
Jim Miller and Benitez.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Jim Miller's wild, first of all.
I skipped that shit.
Fighting in January and then wanting to fight at UFC 300 in April. I didn't even realize he was fighting in January.
Yup.
He's a wild man, that one. But that might be it for him, right? Like once he hits 300, I think he said he was done after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. He better just hope he's healthy coming out of this one.
That was literally my thought.
Okay, lightweights. Jim Miller taking on Gabriel Benitez. Jim Miller, A10, is the 40-year-old fighting out of Sparta, New Jersey. His record stands at 36-17 and 1 no contest, with 19 wins by submission and 7 more wins by knockout or TKO. Coming to this fight, with a win over Jesse Butler back in June of 23, looking to extend his record to 37-17. Oh my goodness. Gabriel Benitez will be taking him on. No spring chicken himself. He is the 35-year-old out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. 23-10 as a pro. 19 finishes out of his 23 wins. 10 of those are submissions. He also is coming off of a win here over Charlie Ontiveros back in August of 2022 by TKO. Omar, start us off once again. Give us your take and your pick for Miller versus Benitez.
Well, it's I'm interested to see what the odds are here, because I think they should be like, looking at the UFC's website. These odds should be, I think, a lot wider than they are. I love Gabriel Benitez. I've been a big fan of his, just from I watched him when he was on Tough Latin America. It was one of those things where you got to know a lot of these guys and you got to appreciate them and things like that. But like, Gabriel Benitez very much has a ceiling. He's a 7-6 fighter in the UFC. He's basically 50-50. No shade to Benitez. The man is a scrapper, 100%. Definitely always comes in there to fight. But, there are guys that have, just a different skill sets that just don't vie to his abilities. And I think Jim Miller is one of these guys that not only has a skill set that could be a real problem for Benitez, both on the ground and standing up, but he also has worlds of experience over Benitez. So as much as I like Benitez, as much as I want to see Benitez winning, I just don't think this is the one that is made for him to win. I think Jim Miller has every opportunity here to piece up Benitez and, really do what he wants to a certain extent. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller here. Knowing how Jim Miller works, I'm going to go with the submission here, rear naked choke, round 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I'm going with Jim Miller as well. I think you said it really well. I think this is a fight that in some sense is well made for the 40-year-old to go in there and have a good scrap and maybe come out with another win on his way to that 300 card. So give me Jim Miller by UD. Mark?
So yeah, the odds you alluded to, they are super tight. It's basically a pick 'em. Jim Miller's minus 115, Gabriel Benitez is minus 105. So you're paying the vig on either guy. Height and reach are identical. But yeah, this is 2 fights in a row that we're kind of all seeing the same way. I do think it's going to be a fun fight, because Gabriel Benitez always comes to scrap, and he will find 100%. Ways to finish dudes when it looks like he may not, have things going his way. He's always live. But I just think Jim Miller's a bit too much. Like, I get it, he's 40, but he's still won 4 out of his last 5 fights. He's not going anywhere, and he is still a really tough guy to win a firefight against, and firefights are what Gabriel Benitez generally does. So I don't think it's a great matchup. As you guys said, I think Miller is comfortable. If this gets uglied up, he may even be the one to try to really make it into phone booth exchange style fights, dirty boxing, go to his grappling, and I think he can outwork Benitez and eventually finish him. So I'm on same as Omar. I'm going to say round 2 sub.
Okay. Nice. Okay, here we go. Down to the flyweights. Manel Kape taking on how do you say his first name? Is it Matheus?
I believe. Or is it?
Matheus?
Yeah. I think he says it like that. Yes, I think.
Matheus Nicolau. So here we go. Nicolau, the 31-year-old out of Brazil, 19-3 with 1 draw, 10 finishes. Matheus. Yeah, it might be Matheus. Coming off of a knockout loss at the hands of Brandon Royval back in April. And he will be taking on the rising Manel Kape, Starboy, the 30-year-old out of Angola. His pro record stands at 19-6 coming into this Saturday night. Only 3 of his 19 wins have gone the distance. He has 5 knockout victories and 11 submission victories coming into this weekend. And he's riding a 4-fight win streak coming into this fight as well. Most recently, getting a UD over Felipe dos Santos back in September. Mark, let's get it out of the way. Tell us your pick and your fight. I mean, your go.
Now I'm choking. Oh, that was great. All right. So finally we get a fight where the odds are a little bit wider. Manel Kape is favored pretty significantly for a guy who lost the first fight.
Yeah.
He is minus 250. Nicolau is a plus 200 underdog. So yeah, 1 inch of height for Nicolau, but 2 inches of reach for Kape. And yeah, I don't know if Mike said this in the intro. Sorry if I missed it, but this is a rematch of a fight that happened in
that's right.
March of 2021. Nicolau won the fight, but let's be honest, no one scored that fight for Nicolau. I believe anyone who I heard have a take on that fight did have it for Manel Kape, myself included. He has been vocal about it for a while, Kape, so I'm sure he's excited to have the chance to right what he feels like was a big wrong on his record. And I think he'll do that. Nicolau's good, don't get me wrong.
He's
but I don't think he has improved the way that Manel Kape has since their first fight. I think Kape was already better at that point, but he had to adapt to the UFC coming over from Asia, where some different rule sets, some different styles where he was fighting. And I think it took him a little bit to adapt to what the judges want to see. And I think he has very much figured that out. I think he is very much in his prime right now. And I think he can get past this test. I think he's going to play the sniper role in this matchup that we have often seen him very capable of playing. I think he's in and out faster, cleaner, and just pulls away more and more as the fight goes on and he starts to pile up some damage. So I will go with Manel Kape to win a UD.
Omar?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, man. I also thought that Manel Kape won that fight. And kind of similarly to Mark, I just feel like Manel Kape's ceiling even back then was higher than Nicolau's. I haven't really seen anything that makes me think that Nicolau's ceiling has changed, especially with his recent loss to Brandon Royval, who recently lost to the champ. It just seems like he's not, he just may not be there right at this very second. Nicolau has a ton of potential. We don't know where that ceiling really is, but as of right now, I just think Manel Kape is just past him, I think, at this point. So I think this fight will be good to solidify that, to remove all the controversy from the first fight. I think Kape will make this one a lot cleaner. There won't be any split decision, I think, involved. I think this one is going to end in a finish, and I think we're going to see a second round TKO.
That'd be big.
Manel Kape seems to fight with a real chip on his shoulder. I'll never forget that press conference from this past year where he just wanted to fight everybody, including Israel Adesanya.
Yes.
And he's a damn talented fighter too. And I think that he's really going to have a huge year, and it's going to start this Saturday night with a knockout win over Matheus Nicolau. So give me another first round loss for Nicolau, getting knocked out this time by Manel Kape.
Love it.
Okay. Main event time. Ankalaev versus Walker 2. So here we go. Magomed Ankalaev, the 31-year-old out of Dagestan, Russia, 17-1 as a pro, also 1 draw and 1 no contest on his record. 9 victories by knockout, no victories by submission, just worth noting. Let's see. Hasn't lost a fight since Paul Craig beat him
Wow.
at UFC Fight Night Verdum versus Volkov back in
Was that his
March of
debut?
2018. Might have been his debut.
It was.
It was
Yeah,
his
I thought so.
debut. That's right. He lost his debut.
Crazy.
Wow. So
And he
since
won
then,
99.9% of that Paul Craig fight.
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, he
he
gets
got
triangled with 1 second left.
at the end of the fight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Craig was on the bottom the whole time, just eating shit, and then he did a Paul Craig and won.
Yep.
It's Scottish magic. Okay, so since then, he went on a 9-fight win streak, a streak which finally took a detour with a draw against Jan Blachowicz for the title, and then right after that, the no contest in the desert in Abu Dhabi. Yes, against Johnny Walker back in October. And now him and Walker are running it right back, this time not in the desert, but at the Apex. So here we go. Omar, give us your take and your pick.
I think the thing that makes this fight really interesting for me is the durability aspect of it. I think both of these guys know how to dish out the punishment, and I think it's really going to come down to who can eat more shit. And I think Ankalaev is just more durable. You know, I like Johnny Walker, but like I said, his style has changed a little bit. He's a little bit more patient, but he also, I'm concerned about the output, especially when you have somebody like Ankalaev who is more than willing to kick your shit off and to throw punches at your face. So I just think the violence we're going to see a little bit more from Ankalaev than we are from Johnny Walker. At this point, I expect Johnny Walker to try to do more lateral movement and circling and try to keeping distance a lot more than Ankalaev will attempt to. So I think Ankalaev is going to be the one to bring the fight, and I think it's going to work against Johnny Walker in that sense. So I'm going to go with Ankalaev here. I think he catches Johnny Walker in something, but I don't think it happens till late. So I'm going to go with Johnny Walker or Ankalaev by KO round 4.
I have to stick with my guy, Johnny Walker. This is a really tough fight to pick him in for the reasons Omar just very smartly laid out. What's that?
I was trying to help you. I threw out an adjective for you.
No, it's just late that my brain is shutting down.
Eloquently was a nice word, though. I like
eloquently laid out.
Thank you.
Ankalaev is durable, and I do agree. I think he's more durable than Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is an interesting formula at 205 pounds. But again, as I alluded to earlier, I think with the help of John Kavanagh, we are seeing a more and more patient Johnny Walker. Like, I feel like John Kavanagh took Johnny Walker with his hands on either side of his big head and was like, Johnny, repeat after me. And Johnny was like, okay, coach. He was like, I am a giant. And Johnny was like, I'm a giant. He's like, when I hit people, they fall down. When I hit people, they fall down. I just have to be more patient. I just have to be okay. So, yeah, I think Ankalaev very easily could win this fight. This is not a very, very confident pick, but I'm going to go with my guy. I think that Ankalaev is going to walk away from this fight and be like, God, he's just a big motherfucker. He's just a fucking big dude. And I think Johnny Walker walks away, giving Ankalaev his first TKO loss, I'll say round 3 in the middle of the fight. Mark.
All right, so the odds are very wide. They've gotten significantly wider from the wild odds on the first fight. The first one was about minus 360 for Ankalaev. He is now minus 480. And similarly, Walker was like plus 260. Now he's plus 360. So I'm not sure what they saw in that first fight. I guess just they thought seeing Ankalaev get him down quickly, and that has swung these odds even a bit further. But yeah, they're pretty wide. Size-wise, as we know, a lot in Walker's favor. He is 3 inches taller. He will have a 7-inch reach advantage. And I said this last time. I still feel the same this time. If there is a guy who can beat Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker's not a bad candidate to do it, simply because Magomed is a guy who doesn't generally take a ton of risks. He wants to be the one deciding what's happening in the fight. And if there's someone who can force a mistake out of him, you know, that wild, aggressive style that Johnny can bring in there is something that could generate that mistake. And there can be a huge strike that lands for Johnny at any time. So I do think he's live. But also, as I said last time, I can't actually get myself to pick that. Just because Magomed is so well rounded. A, he should be okay on the feet, and then B, I think we might finally see him truly lean on his wrestling from the jump here. It looked like he wanted to go that route last fight. I think he learned something in the Yan fight and realized, like, you know what? I can really dominate these guys with my wrestling. Why am I fucking around and getting my legs torn to shit and whatever else? So I would like to think that we're going to see a little bit more of a focus on wrestling from him. Johnny's grappling is improving. Tapped out, who was it? Kutelaba fairly recently and looked good doing it. But even so, Ankalaev is just really smothering when he's on top. And that's really what I see for the most part here. So I think Omar might have said the same thing, but I'm going to go with a late TKO for Magomed. I will say round 4.
Yep.
Cool. And there you have it. We did it.
Very nice. That was a long fucking episode.
That's the longest episode we've had in a long time, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Good work.
Good work.
Very nice.
Well, enjoy the fights this weekend, folks. Welcome back to the beginning of 2024. Welcome back to the beginning. That's weird. That's okay. It's late. I forgive myself.
Time are these fights? Is it a normal time of a fight card?
It's
Nope.
it's the Apex
main card at 7:00 fucking PM.
The main card starts at 7?
It sure does.
Wow.
So the main event's going to be on at like 9 or 9:30 at night. Whack.
Yeah.
Do they just not have Apex fight cards on that late? Is that just what it is?
Nah, some of them are. Yeah, I don't know what dictates it.
It's weird.
Okay, folks. We are 3 tired men, and we need to go to bed.
We do.
Word.
If you're still with us, thank you for being with us. I want you guys to leave us comments below with matchups you're looking forward to in 2024, crossweight dream fights, potential breakout stars, and potential champs of each division at the end of the year. We want to hear your picks to all of these things down below in the comments. We'll see you down there. In the meantime, have a great night, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the fights.
Happy New Year. Welcome back,
Happy
everybody.
New Year. Peace. Peace.